From humble beginnings to this, the spectacular sight that is Watkins Glen International on a beautiful Sunday in August, where again thousands of race fans have come just as they have since 1956 to watch great drivers take on one of the world's great road courses. Today, for the 25th time in the modern era, it's the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series competing on these speedy straights and twisting turns. 43 drivers all hoping to be the one to take home the trophy back to their hometown. If the more famous oval tracks have personality, the Brickyard, the Tricky Triangle, the Lady in Black, then this place is loaded with character, and it changes from turn to turn to turn. Here's Mike Massaro.
The challenges drivers face here at Watkins Glen are immediate. Turn number one, a very sharp 90-degree right-handed turn heading downhill. Here, drivers are heavy on the brakes, down through the gears as they decelerate from speeds beyond 100 miles per hour down to speeds close to 50 miles per hour. The key here, be smooth and be careful not to wheel hop. If you do, it could be a very long day. Turn number one, extremely unforgiving.
And turn one sets drivers up for one of the most critical parts of the track, the S's. If a car is handling well, a driver will be completely flat, getting optimum speed to set them up for the longest and the fastest section of the track. It is here a driver can make up time or they can lose time if not precise.
And that leads you to the bus stop, which is often referred to as the inner loop. It's a quick right, left, right that's attached to the inside of a high-speed straightaway. You have to brake hard on entry to get into that turn sequence, and if you overcharge that initial entry, you'll push the nose of the car, ultimately ruining your final exit. The best drivers can gain some time here, but you can definitely lose time at the bus stop. We saw a couple off-road excursions and spins here in the nationwide race yesterday. It's one of those spots that can turn a good day into a bad day in a hurry.
Finally, these traditionally counterclockwise racers take on one of the few left-handers at Watkins Glen. They carry a ton of speed coming out of the carousel. They take it down and have to hit their turn-in exact, or they can expect big trouble. Then they're onto a rhythm section, the final right-hander, that becomes either just another lap or a trip to victory lane.
The challenge that is Watkins Glen International today for the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. And ESPN welcomes you to NASCAR Countdown for today's race. Our ESPN pit studio perfectly located behind the pit lane overlooking the start-finish line and with victory lane right next door. We welcome you inside. Alan Bestwick along with two-time Watkins Glen winning driver Rusty Wallace and now three-time Watkins Glen winning team owner Big Brad Daugherty. As a driver, as an athlete, when you come to a place with a lot of history, do you pay attention to the history, or is it all about the present?
No, I pay a lot of attention to the history. You come to a track like Watkins Glen, where it had a lot of Formula One people that drove this track, IndyCar guys, famous names, stuff like that. I think of the Daytona 500. I pay a lot of attention to history there, a lot of attention to history at Indianapolis and stuff like that. I don't do it at all the racetrack, but the ones I just mentioned, I do pay a lot of attention to. Respect.
That's exactly right. And in any sport, when you come into a venue that has such a storied past, a place like Watkins Glen that just is not only known nationally but internationally, yeah, there's a little bit of extra pressure. You feel that old throat getting a little bit tighter. Everything becomes bigger, larger, brighter. The colors are more vivid. So yeah, it creates an air of responsibility as a performer or as an athlete to do and give your very best, especially when they load the fans in here.
Yeah, and it looks like a great day to be at a race here in Watkins Glen. The weather's just perfect today. Let's talk about, you heard our reporters describe the course and the challenges of the different sections of the course for a driver, for a team. What are the challenges of racing at Watkins Glen?
Well, Alan, number one, they're doing things out there they normally don't do. They normally don't turn left and right on these oval racetracks, but here they do. And there's a lot of areas that make mistakes. The mistakes are probably the number one thing they can mess up throughout the race. I mean, whether you shift wrong, you brake wrong, you wheel hop, many, many things can go wrong right here at Watkins Glen, but above all, just making a pile of mistakes. There's a lot of opportunities to do that.
Yeah, when you go 1 through 43, the message is pretty clear on one thing that has to happen throughout the day in order to have a successful day. Not necessarily getting the victory lane, but surviving. You have to keep your race car in condition enough to be able to advance each lap. You are beating and banging on this race car all day long, and you got to stay on the racetrack, just like Rusty said. You got to survive throughout the day to give yourself a shot.
A lot more places to make mistakes, a lot more places to get into trouble on a road
Yes,
course.
sir.
That is for sure. Now, qualifying was held midday Saturday, and the fastest time was set by Carl Edwards. Edwards really carried some speed up the hill in the S's to edge the Ganassi guys, Jamie McMurray and Juan Pablo Montoya, by 3.5 tenths of a second for the Coors Light Pole Award. Now can he get his first win of the season today, Mike Massaro?
Thank you, Alan. And for the first time since 2008, Carl Edwards is on the pole. Starting out front today, what will the approach be?
It was a great lap for our Aflac Fusion, and I don't know what I'm going to do with myself up there in the front. The best I've qualified here before on speed is, I think, 26th or something. So I made sure to make it to the driver's meeting because Bob would kill me if I messed this up. So for us, it's to stay out front, you know, to get comfortable with a pace. Hopefully we're very competitive with the leaders, and it'll be a different day for me if we can do that. I'm so used to starting in the back and having to work strategy and drive my heart out. And then once you get up there to the front, you know, you only get to race those guys for a few minutes at the end of the race. So it'll be nice to be able to race with them all day. Hopefully we can capitalize on the momentum we've had the last few weeks and be huge to get a win here.
And talking about momentum, with Greg Biffle's win a week ago, your teammate, it seems like Roush Fenway has turned the corner. How would you assess the performance of this entire organization right now going into today's race?
I used to be the guy that would, I mean, I said publicly I don't believe in momentum. I don't think any of that stuff's true, but the last few weeks have kind of proven me wrong. You know, we've run very well. Greg Biffle's win was huge for Ford and for Roush, and you know, and then we ran that lap in qualifying, and we're fast in race trim, and it just feels good to be a part of this organization right now. And I'm proud of all the guys for I mean, keeping their heads up and working hard. It's so easy in this sport to get run down when things aren't going well, and it looks like we may have weathered the worst of it. So I hope that's the case.
And Alan, they're looking to keep their momentum going, looking for his first career road course win in the Cup Series, that is.
All right, Michael, thank you. And coming up next, the terrible crash suffered by Elliott Sadler last Sunday at Pocono, his return to the track, the technology that kept him safe, and changes to this track to keep the drivers safer. And later, part 2 of Marty Smith's exclusive interview with 4-time champion and 4-time Watkins Glen winner, Jeff Gordon. Why he's still competing for wins and championships instead of being retired as he originally planned. When NASCAR Countdown continues from the Glen. Sunday's race at Pocono that included the scariest crash of the season. This track is big, and it's going to take a couple minutes to run the jet dryers around there.
We're going to go racing, it looks like, so you got to get prepared, get ready to go.
The 21st race of the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series is green. Let's go 3 wide. Harvick's the meat in this sandwich. Look out. McMurray almost slides to the wall. Your race leader is Jimmy Johnson.
But here comes Jeff.
This is getting good right now.
Seven still in line, peeking on you. Trying to get outside. You know, outside.
Clear. Oh, look out. Trouble. Kurt's into the wall.
Like a little bump drafting going on right there.
Oh, man. Further back, Elliott Sadler. And look at the engine is out of this thing.
I'm okay. I'm a little sore. Definitely the hardest hit I've ever had in a race car. It's a tough day.
Close for Jack, guys. Yeah, I hope Jack's watching.
Greg Biffle is going to bring it home and give Jack Roush his 4th win here at Pocono.
No disrespect to that winning 16 team, but the most lasting images from the Pocono race last week were provided by this man, Elliott Sadler. Well, a week later, how are you feeling?
Actually, I feel really good. I was a little sore Monday and Tuesday, but, went and got my therapy, went and saw my chiropractor, got all straightened up. And honestly, Dr. Jerry Punch called me Monday morning, and we had a long, lengthy conversation. And he let me know how to ice it, the best way to take care of it, keep it stretched, what to take for swelling and things like that. So actually, I've had a really good week. Soreness went away Wednesday night. I've had a lot of fun in the car, no pains, no issues this weekend in the car, and just glad to be here at Watkins Glen.
Yeah, there's actually been a lot of good news that have come from this incident, and for more on that, let's go to Tim Brewer in the NASCAR Craftsman Tech Garage.
Thanks, Vince. That was a very, very violent crash, and you have to commend NASCAR for their safety procedures. But still yet, the Hans device inside the race car that's set behind Elliott's neck, it kept the head from coming forward. That's a great device. But what it sets right underneath the shoulder harnesses right here that keeps the body from coming forward. Now this seat, it came from Hendrick Motorsports. It's a composite seat, but the insert in here, it actually fits the shape of the body. Mark Martin, Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, they even sell it. Elliott Sadler had one of these seats in the car, and that kept him intact inside the race car, and that saved him and let him walk away from the crash.
Tim, thank you for the demonstration. Safety changes to the Pocono track are planned. Safety changes here at Watkins Glen have been made after a nasty wreck during last year's Sprint Cup Series race. Sam Hornish Jr. in the 77 car is forced off the track, exiting turn 5, and watch out what happens here.
Oh! Wow, look at Jeff Gordon crash there along with Jeff Burt. Hard legs. Hard.
Look at that. The whole entire track's blocked. Nobody can get through. They just keep piling into it.
As a result of that, safety changes have been made in the runoff area of the track.
Oh, yeah, they've really helped this area, Alan. They've elevated it. They took all the grass away. They've paved it. So now if a driver does get off course a little bit there, he can get back on course, no harm, no foul. And you can see that's a big improvement from what they had last time.
Also changes made at the inner loop or bus stop.
Yeah, this is really interesting because you come into that bus stop running almost 165, 70 miles an hour, and as you look at it now, with the gravel gone and all that asphalt, it looks bigger. So we're going to see some guys overdrive here. You can't make a mistake. You got to get in there, get through there. But if you do get off, you got a chance to get back on without getting stuck and wasting a lot of time.
And in the final 2 turns of the course, more safety-related changes. The gravel trap that used to extend from the edge of the racetrack all the way to the retaining wall has mostly been replaced by pavement, a paved runoff area, but still the gravel trap for safety if a driver runs through all that out of brakes or something. Then at the exit of the next corner, the safer barrier added there in case a car gets forced off. So changes made in the name of safety here at Watkins Glen over the past year. Couple things to discuss. Elliott Sadler's wreck. Rusty, you've been in some nasty wrecks in your career. What's it like for him the week after the wreck, and what's it like getting back in the race car?
Well, I will tell you, he'll definitely think about it for a long time. It probably bothers him just a little bit, but Alan, the wrecks are totally different. I mean, I've had wrecks before where I know I'm sliding, I feel the car go up in the air, and I'm like, okay, I better hunker down and brace, and that thing flips end over end 10 or 15 times, and you get out mad. But then you have wrecks like Elliott had, where he got completely blindsided. He had no idea this was coming, and wham, it almost knocks your lights out. And when you get out of a situation like that, that's the one that bothers you. You think about it. It happened to me at Talladega. Talladega, big crash, and I kept thinking, man, this is the second time this year. Does that mean every time these cars get sideways, they're going to go end over end and flip? I talked to NASCAR about it. I even had a driver's meeting at Daytona about it, voicing my concerns. I had to act and do something to get it out of my mind. But it will linger with you if you have something like that.
Changes that have been made to the track. You think they'll affect the racing some today?
Oh, I really do. I think we could even see more cautions. I know everyone's saying because of these new areas, you won't have as many cautions. I think guys are going to be more aggressive because they're going to see these areas that they can take advantage of and utilize to put their cars in positions where before they would run off into the gravel traps and those type of things. Now you can get away with it a little bit, so I can see some super aggressive racing, which is going to be fun.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Now, as we've seen here at Watkins Glen the last couple of years, the Hornish crash, one example, track blocking wrecks. Boy, we had a doozy in the Nationwide Series race yesterday. Exiting turn 1, Jason Leffler gets forced over the rumble strips. When he tries to come back on the track, there's traffic there. It winds up with a 10-car pileup.
My goodness, that was an incredible wreck. They went 3 wide, nowhere to go, and it just clogged up the lane there. It was just like a funnel. All these race cars tore up. Kevin Harvick here's the smart guy, though. He pulls to the inside and waits. 2 cars come behind him and slam into Tony Raines there and tore up a lot of good equipment.
You know what the problem is, though, Brad? We might see that again today.
Yeah,
I mean, the track's the same. You get really aggressive down into turn 1. If you wheel hop or slide off course, you're trying to get back on the course, and you come right into oncoming traffic. And so I won't be surprised if we see it again. Maybe not that extent. 10 cars, that was pretty strong.
Fortunately, all the drivers okay in that big accident. As always at a road course, some different faces in different places. One of those is Boris Said driving the Red Bull 83 today, Jamie.
Always good to have the Said head and his son, Boris Jr. here with him. Boris, you've been an Ironman this weekend. Yesterday was Nationwide, last night Grand Am, today Cup, and you're driving for Red Bull for the first time. How How competitive do you expect to be? I know there's a lot of differences between the 3 cars.
Well, I mean, it's a lot of unanswered questions, really. I mean, I only drove this car for the first time Friday, and so I don't really know how it's going to be on a long run. I'm cautiously optimistic. I mean, these Red Bull guys, it's a top-notch team. I've never worked with a team that good before, and all the resources they have. And, you know, they've given me everything I need, so really it comes down to me not going out and making any mistakes. Hopefully I can stay on the road, be there at the end. You know, Jimmy Elledge, I'm sure he's going to call a great race, and, you know, hopefully this Red Bull will give me wings, and I can get it up to the front.
It's going to be a lot of fun watching you. He'll roll off 13th today, Alan.
All right, Jamie, thanks. A look at now some of the other different faces in different places today. A quartet of people, including Boris, who we just talked to, getting the drive in the Red Bull 83 car. P.J. Jones is driving a second Robbie Gordon Motorsports car today. The 07 machine will line up in 39th. Patrick Carpentier got a late call to drive the 26 car. He qualified well in 17th. And Andy Lally's aboard TRG 71 car. He drives for them in the Grand Am Series. He starts 33rd in the Sprint Cup today at the Glen. Watkins Glen International, where the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series is getting set to go racing in just a little while. 43 drivers, 90 laps around this 7 turns plus a bus stop course. Jeff Gordon will go down as one of the best ever in NASCAR history, yet he continues to ride a long dry spell. Last Sunday at Pocono, he was the leader until the final pit stops when his team went for 4 tires and they got shuffled back by strategy. Instead of winning, Gordon finished in 6th position. Jeff Gordon turned 39 on Wednesday of this week, and as he awaits the birth of his second child, we bring you part 2 of NASCAR Now lead reporter Marty Smith's visit with the 4-time champion.
What impact has fatherhood had on your life?
Oh my goodness. I mean, it's had a huge impact. Does that change who I am and how I go about my job, you know, when I'm in the race car? It's made me really have to work hard at how I schedule my time, because racing is very important to me and I want to be good at it.
Is it the most important thing?
It's not the most important, but it's never been the most important thing to me. No. You know, when I wasn't married and didn't have a child, you know, was racing my top priority? Yes, but I think there's some negatives that come along with that too.
Like?
I think that you can be too involved. I think as a race car driver, I think all of us have a role to play. But when we start thinking that we're the team owner, the crew chief, the engineer, I think that's when we stop being as good a driver as we can be.
It's Gordon across in first. The NASCAR Cup Championship is his.
I don't think we've ever had all the pieces put together since Ray left.
Look at everything. He is looking.
You know, he left at a time when we were struggling a little bit. We weren't doing quite as well. I mean, we're struggling. I think we won 7 races that year.
Tough life, Jeff.
Finished 4th in the point. We thought, man, the world's coming to an end. We might as well just throw this whole thing out the window. And, you know, Ray got the opportunity from Dodge. I looked at it as an opportunity for me as well, you know, to branch out there. I was getting criticized a lot on, you know, well, it's all Ray and Hendrick. It's, you know, it's not Jeff. I wanted to see if I could do it, you know, with another crew chief and with new members of the team.
That must drive you crazy, though, to have had it since you sat in that car, basically.
Yeah. It's frustrating because, you know, when you've been a part of success, it's tough to not continue to have that success. And what keeps me going and what keeps me smiling is that I look back on my career, it's been amazing. I mean, I've done more than I ever thought that I'd ever do. And I'm proud of all those moments and my place in the sport, and is something that you'll never be able to take away.
Does the chase piss you off? Because you can make
a little. The thing that upsets me about the chase is that it's the same 10 tracks every single year. For my way of driving and the style that I have, and the old championship being, you know, really good for me as a driver and our team, you know, I felt like if we went out there and we didn't have a winning car that day, I was really good at bringing that car home 5th or 8th, or, you know, you just had to fight till the last lap on every race and bring the car home in one piece and get your share of wins. And I can say all day long, you know, well, the chase, you know, has these 10 tracks that they're not my best 10 tracks. we still got to be, there's still, a total of 8 races that we need to be winning at in some of those races, and we haven't been winning.
How long are you going to do this?
Drive?
How long are you going to drive?
I thought I was retiring this year. 5 years ago, I thought I was retiring today. That's just how life changes, how things change. I always say that as long as somebody like Rick Hendrick wants to put me in the car, as long as I'm competitive, and then the health issue, my back's feeling a lot better. I'm working out, and so I'm feeling so much better about myself physically. And shoot, with another baby on the way, man, I've got some bills to pay.
That is fun. Perhaps this Watkins Glen track is a small sample of where things have been over Jeff Gordon's career. In the first 9 races here, he won 4 times and had 7 top 10 finishes. But in the last 8 Glen events, there has been only 1 top 10 run. Gordon hopes for another today. One of the comments there that sparked my interest was Jeff talking about being too involved as a driver. How do you gauge how involved to be with your team?
Well, I think all drivers are different. There's no doubt about that. But Jeff and I actually had a conversation about that one time. He criticized me. I criticized him for not being involved enough. He come back and said, Rusty, if you weren't so involved, I think you would have won more races. Well, you know what? I totally disagree. I respect him as a driver, but I found every time I backed off and didn't pay attention as much as I possibly could to at least the car and the operation, I just flat ran slower. So I guess I do it different, but I can't back off. Once I backed off, everything got messed up.
As far as the Pocono race last Sunday, they ran well, they had a chance to win, but they didn't win. Positive or negative?
I think it's a negative. I mean, it's kind of been their MO the entire season. They have run really well at times, put themselves in position halfway through, 3/4 of the way through the race, and they get to the end, and they just have not been able to get themselves over the hump. Now, obviously, Rick Hendrick has a lot of confidence in Steve Letarte. He re-signed him to a new deal. He's going to give him more years with Jeff Gordon. I do believe once this team wins 1 race, we will see them win multiple races. They are good enough. They just had a lot of bad luck, some indecision, and some things just not go their way. That's got them a lot of second-place finishes.
A lot of troubles getting over the hump. Jeff Gordon starts 16th today. Now, Gordon is among the leaders in NASCAR wins at this Watkins Glen track, and he's got some pretty good company. Gordon with 4 wins, just ahead of Mark Martin with 3, and just behind Tony Stewart. The Stewart's not only won 5 Watkins Glen races, but he's won 5 of the last 8, and he starts 6th today, Dave.
And when you talk about the history of this track, Alan, it's amazing to think that that's all-time winners here in the 27 races in the Sprint Cup, 5 for Tony. But the W column empty so far this year. Is this the place where you change that for the 14 car?
I feel like this is the best shot we've had all year. I mean, we were really good in practice. I felt like I was really happy with my balance after happy hour, and obviously Juan's really good, and Marcos is really good, but and there might be a couple other guys that in race trim or will stay on pace pretty well. But I feel like it's the best chance for our Old Spice Office Depot Chevy, and proud of Darian and these guys, everybody at Hendrick Engine Shop and Chassis Shop, and everybody at Stewart Haas Racing. I'm really, really proud of our guys back in Kannapolis. They've done an awesome job of, continuing to pick up the pace and making our cars better every week.
Now, you and I talked yesterday, and you said you were okay from that little tumble at the charity race Friday night, but we always get concerned when we see that. What happened there?
Actually, Juan and I were just talking about, because Juan actually was there standing on top of our truck watching. We went into turn 1, and a guy had problems with his steering, and he was trying to get off the track, and when his steering broke, it turned him hard left and brought him back on the track. And you're running so fast in a winged sprint car there. By the time I saw him, there was no way that I could get away from it or get away from him. So we just hit him with the right rear, and it's sky ground, sky ground, sky ground, sky ground, and sky ground, I think. And then finally it landed on its lid. So it's nice having that big wing on top, because it cushions the blow a lot. And we're fine. I mean, I'd go back and do it again tomorrow, so no concerns about it. It was fun. We ran 3 races this week with that car, so we've had a good time.
All right, well, here's to looking out the front windshield with everybody else behind you today. Just blue sky ahead. Mike Massaro.
And one team that looks particularly strong today is the Ganassi bunch. Juan Pablo Montoya qualifying 3rd, and this guy, Jamie McMurray, qualifying 2nd. With you guys qualifying so strong, I'd imagine you've had some conversations. What have you talked about in terms of the way you plan to attack the race today?
Well, honestly, we haven't talked that much. We had our team meeting this morning, and really you just discuss kind of your strategy for the crew chiefs more than anything of when we'll pit. and just how aggressive we're going to be at the beginning. So we'll just have to wait and see. Our McDonald's Chevrolet is really good. I know that Marcus is certainly probably going to be the class of the field. Tony Stewart, Juan. So we just find a good place to ride here at the beginning of this, and brakes always seem to go away. Last 25, 30 laps. So try to conserve our brakes at the beginning, and starting up front is going to be good, but you got to have good pitch strategy. So Bono does a really good job at that, so not worried about it.
Well, Alan, I don't think it's much of a stretch to call this guy at least a dark horse. After all, his background is in go-kart racing. Certainly accustomed to going left and right.
Jamie McMurray, Michael, thank you. Starting on the front row today. Still to come, Marcus Ambrose, whose attempts to win one of these Sprint Cup races have been turned aside in sometimes cruel ways. Could today be the day? Richard Childress, the 6-time champion team owner who has his team back in title contention again and is always lurking somewhere nearby while they compete. That and more from the grid when NASCAR Countdown continues from the Glen. Major League Baseball tonight, it's the Red Sox and Yankees on ESPN Sunday Night Baseball. Josh Beckett against A.J. Burnett. Not sure if A-Rod's in the lineup or not. That's at 8 Eastern on ESPN tonight. Then on Monday Night Baseball at 7 Eastern, Albert Pujols and the Cardinals against Joey Votto and the Reds. Both games also available on ESPN3.com. The baseball is in the Bronx tonight. The racing's upstate New York this afternoon in Watkins Glen, where the green flag waves on this historic road course in 43 minutes. This is the second of 2 road course events during the year for the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. The first happened on June 20th at the opposite end of the country and ended with a 4-time champ in Victory Lane.
It is Casey Kane and Jimmy Johnson leading them down to the green flag. 110 laps and we're underway.
This is going to get fun in a few laps watching the 48 and the 47.
I cannot get away from this 48.
Marcos Ambrose, great stop.
Boy, it's going to be close, and the 48, I think, is going to do it. And there he goes. Oh, maybe not. And this is the time of the race where the boys are going to start playing a lot rougher.
The last thing Marcus Ambrose wanted to see, a 2-second lead. Now you got to endure another restart.
Marcus Ambrose has to give up the lead.
Putting us behind the 9, and I don't know why.
You have to maintain speed. That's in the rule book.
For the first time in his career, he's going to win on a road course. Johnson wins the Toyota Save Mark 350 at Sonoma.
And that certainly was a big day back at Sonoma. Jimmy Johnson's first road course win in a Sprint Cup car. Jimmy, what did that win do maybe for your confidence and this team's confidence as we approach another road course?
You know, coming into this race, we had a lot of confidence that came from that. Very proud of what I did in Sonoma, what the team did. It was an awesome, awesome weekend for us. But we showed up here with all of that, thinking we were going to be fast and it was going to be great, and then we struggled. So we've fortunately had enough to build on and believed in what we were doing with the cars enough to find our way through practice and get much closer, put up a great qualifying lap. So I think in the end, we're going to be very competitive today, but we didn't start off as we had hoped. So, confidence is good for something, but not for everything. You still need to have the car right in order to get the job done.
And your teammate Jeff Gordon actually participated in the tire test in June, so everybody thought, oh, Hendrick Motorsports, class of the field. That hasn't been the case. What have you guys struggled with?
And we've been joking with Stevie and Jeff that they're not allowed to tire test any longer, but in their defense, they weren't on the exact tire combination that they wanted to come back with. And I know that the 47 car was here for that tire test as well and had the same issues with being very loose like we did, on top of a lot of cars seem to be pretty loose. But the guys that have it right, man, they're considerably faster than anyone else. So we know there's a way to do it. Hopefully we've made the right adjustments over the last couple of days and we've got it right.
All right, Jimmy Johnson will roll off ninth today. Alan?
All right, Jamie, thanks. Now, that Sonoma win for Johnson came, as you saw, at the expense of Marcus Ambrose. The Australian with the road racing background has 3 straight wins at this track in the Nationwide Series, including yesterday when he led 60 of 82 laps. But about that first Sprint Cup win, he starts 11th today, Vince.
Marcus Ambrose called yesterday's Nationwide Series victory the most satisfying he's ever had. What would a victory today mean then of following that up?
I had to correct my statement from yesterday if that's the case. You know, it means a lot to win at this level. It's hard to win these NASCAR races. Yesterday was a really proud day for all of us here at JTG Doherty, and it's just a good send-off. You know, I'm not going to be driving for him next year. I don't know what I'm going to be doing quite yet for 2011, but yeah, just really excited to finish things off right to the end of 2010, and we've got a lot of work to do today. It's going to be a tough day, but we feel good about our chances, and hopefully we have a good strategy and the race comes our way.
And you're going to be our in-race reporter today.
I heard that. I'm really excited about that. And if you've got any questions out there, log on to ESPN.com, and the keyword is Ask the Driver. So you can ask me anything you like. You may not get the answer you like, but I'll give it a shot.
Very nice. Ambrose getting ready to go from the 11th starting spot today. Let's talk pressure. Yeah. Given that he has so much more road racing experience than oval track experience, meaning the 2 road races a year are his best chances to win. How much pressure is he putting on himself for this race?
He's put immense pressure on himself for this race. And let's be very clear. Marcus Ambrose is a tremendous road racer. He's not just a road racer. This guy's really ultra talented.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So he puts a lot of pressure on himself. He knows that when he comes to this racetrack, he's going to be the guy to beat. You've heard all of these other guys talking about him, so that adds to that. And I've tried to get him to relax, and I tell him, just let it come to you. Let the game come to you. Do what you do best. But he wants to win this race so bad, and after what happened in Sonoma, it's even added more pressure to him. So there's a pressure cooker.
Brad, part owner of Marcus Ambrose's car. Let's talk about Jimmy Johnson. The big Pocono wreck that Kurt Busch and Elliott Sadler had began by a Jimmy Johnson bump draft on Kurt Busch. Both Johnson and Busch asked about it during their press conferences here Friday.
It was a racing incident, and I hate that over the last year or two there have been a lot of those racing incidents, and he certainly has been on the losing end of that situation. And it is nothing intentional, nothing I have against him. He and I joked on the phone Monday that we have these magnets we can't get rid of, and I'm going to just stay away from as much as I can.
I've been wrecked by Johnson quite a bit in the last couple seasons, the last 13 months. And whether it was racing, whether it was just a small bump that he didn't intend to mean what he did. You know, he didn't intentionally try to wreck us at Pocono, but it ended up that way. So there might be some of that coming from my side of it.
All right, so what to make of all this?
Well, I mean, they're obviously very, very good drivers. They find yourself running bumper to bumper all the time because they got fast cars. That Penske Dodge is a rocket ship, and so is Johnson Chevrolet. You know, so they're bumper to bumper all the time. Now, the incident at Pocono, in my mind, that was just a classic case of bump drafting going bad. I mean, he got him to back up, trying to knock him past the rest of the cars, Alan, and he got him knocked sideways, and another crash happened. So I can understand how this is not intentional. But, Brad, you got a different opinion.
Oh, yeah, man. Oh, yeah. see, Kurt Busch has been that one guy all year who's kind of been calling out that 48 and throwing shots across the bow at that 48. And when this happens, he's using it as an opportunity to create a little bit of psychological warfare with Jimmy Johnson. When they get into the chase, and if he can get close enough throughout the series, when Jimmy Johnson looks up and sees that blue deuce coming, you know what? He's going to start thinking, boys. He's going to start thinking, what's going to happen when he gets to my bumper? How can I race this guy? How should I race this guy? And that might be an advantage for Kurt Busch. I like what Kurt's doing.
If he kind of excuse me, I didn't mean it.
Yeah, man.
Well, Jimmy starts 9th today. Kurt starts 5th. Driver introductions underway. Drivers, as always, here taking around the course so all the fans can get a look at their favorites before they buckle in and tackle 90 laps on this tricky 7-turn track. NASCAR's Race to the Chase continues today at Watkins Glen. 5 races to go until the field for the chase for the Sprint Cup is set. Kevin Harvick leads the standings. In fact, all 3 of the Richard Childress racing cars are currently in a chase qualified position entering this race. That's quite a turnaround for team owner Childress, who a year ago was fighting to figure out how to return his team to the front of the pack. Now the 6-time champion owner spends his weekends trying to keep them there.
I think the anticipation of the race, the start of the race, everything evolved around it. I still get excited. Once I get up in the morning, I try to meet with some of my guys. I'll pick 1 or 2 of them and talk to them. Usually I'll have several appearances. Just do that routine, then I'll go to the driver's meeting.
Looks like the rain, it might hold off at least for half of it.
How's that baby doing, buddy?
Feeling good, man. Getting
good. Good. How are they? How's this thing run down the straightaway?
That's pretty good.
I think we're going to be good today. We just got to be patient way back here. I'm going to watch it right up here today.
Hard to see here.
Yeah. Okay. We'll win the race. Yeah, I'll take a bottle of water, cold water.
Yeah, I got you, boss.
Is this your
you're riding with me, you're going to hold me up, you might as well go ahead and win the race.
10-4.
Yep, you got me. Have a good day out there, guys. Be solid in the pit. Go out there and win this race. Got me, Kevin.
4, Richard.
And have a good day out there, buddy. Let's go out here and win this race.
4, thank you.
How close is that rain, Hugh?
I mean, just the tail end of it, Richard. Really waiting on this little rain.
Engines have fired on pit road here at Pocono Raceway after about a 35-minute delay where green flag is in the air.
Get the wall. Steering wheel still straight. We're coming this time.
Just don't give up much on the track here, Gil. Let's see what it fits.
Hey, Richard, you got a stopwatch with you?
Yeah, I have, Jeff.
Give me that works on turn 1. Just pick a point, enter in 1 and exit in 1, and give me a few laps here. I just want to look for something here. I just want to know my time.
Yep, this is the first time the sun's been out. You're actually a little better than cars with the sun out.
Pray for sun.
Kurt's into the wall. Boyer's in it as well.
Man, look at this car.
Oh, man, further back, Elliott Sadler. And look at this.
Gosh.
Engine is out of this thing.
Oh, my gosh.
Who wrecked? The 19 knocked the engine completely out of it.
Well, if we didn't have all the safety stuff we got in these cars today, it'd been bad. Some of them guys just took fuel that.
Like 4 of them.
16, 99, or 5 will probably end up winning the race.
Greg Biffle is going to bring it home and win here at Pocono.
Kevin, you guys done a hell of a job there. Good job, Gil, pit crew. Did a good job. I know it ain't what we need, but you did all you could with the tore-up race car there. Good job there, Jeff. You guys had a good car. Todd, pit crew, all you guys did a good job. We'll get them next week.
Well, Richard Childress has some pretty big numbers as a team owner. 91 Sprint Cup wins, 6 championships, and trying for a 7th, which would place him 2nd on the all-time list. Let's hear from the current championship leader, Childress driver Kevin Harvick, who starts 20th today, Dave.
Well, that's one of the things that I want to talk to him about. He's got the championship lead. He loves road racing. He's been doing it since he was 6. But you're starting 20th, Kevin. How difficult?
Oh, it's not going to be easy for sure, but I put us in this position and just by missing one corner yesterday in qualifying. So car's been running really good. We've started back here before, though. You got to stay out of trouble. That's the main thing, and you got to have the strategy follow your way. And I think, you know, just the speed of the car will be able to do most of the work, but you got to have the rest of it go your way regardless of whether you're starting here or you're starting first.
Now, yesterday you also ended up in the back of the pack, but raced your way to 3rd, so any benefit to yesterday?
Well, yesterday was a bad day from the driver's standpoint. I pretty much did just about everything you could do wrong, and we were lucky enough to have a good car and be able to capitalize on it yesterday. Still pretty disappointed with yesterday just for the fact that, you know, I felt we could have at least raced with the 47, but we never even gave ourselves a chance. So hopefully we can just be consistent and make up spots early in the race here, and we'll go from there.
How do they say it, Alan? Out with the bad, in with the good, hopefully for Kevin today.
There you go. Kevin Harvick getting ready to go from 20th starting spot. Now, Rusty, Brad, you're both team owners like Richard Childress. Ask you the same question like I asked you about Jeff Gordon. How do you balance having your input into what's going on against letting the people you've hired to drive and prepare the cars do their thing?
It's a tough job, it really is. But if we had to build the perfect template how to do that, guys, I think I'd go right to Richard Childress, because it looks like to me he's got it down pat. I mean, this is the type of guy that when he speaks, everybody listens. And the one thing I like about him, he supports all his teams pretty equal. I heard him on that piece right there. He called every driver before the race started. And when the race was over, he congratulated every single team. And he stands up not on any particular pit box. He stands high above on different types of apparatuses, sometimes on top of trucks, sometimes on tops of buildings, so he can look at all of his teams. He does a fantastic fantastic job of managing this team. I don't think anybody would argue that point.
No, that's exactly right. Richard Childress he is one of the cornerstones of our sport right now as we look at it. And I admire Richard. I try to take some from his managing style. And what he does very well is he hires very competent people, and he allows them to do their jobs. But what he does best is he offers tremendous support as an owner and as a confidant, and it makes people better. It gets the best out of people. Richard Childress is a tremendous car owner. He's a great owner, and he's a great guy, and all of the people that work for him, they know that.
Well, Kevin Harvick hoping to get another Watkins Glen road course win today for owner Richard Childress. He and the rest of the drivers waiting, standing by as we get closer to the opening ceremony and the green flag for today's race. The famed road course in Watkins Glen, where the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series goes racing on a beautiful August afternoon. 43 drivers slugging it out over 90 laps on what some refer to as the super speedway of road courses. Back to the grid now. Juan Pablo Montoya starts third, Mike.
And whenever we're at a road course, you've got to expect that this guy is a favorite. Juan, a lot of people looking at you as one of the guys to beat today. How would you assess your chances of getting this car to victory lane?
I told you, this Target Chevy is always good in road courses. Actually, it's the best qualifying I had. I always struggle in qualifying, so I think having track position is going to help us a little bit. So we'll see. I think the chances are pretty good.
And Jamie, Juan trying to duplicate the performance that put him in victory lane back in 2007 out in Sonoma.
And Greg Biffle turned some doubters into believers after winning at Pocono. You continue to do the same thing here. You're not a road courser, so to speak, yet you've been fastest in both practice sessions. What's your outlook for today?
Well, outlook's really good. 3 and 4 Fusion cars running really, really fast. And, now it's up to me. They've given me a car I can win with today. I just got to keep it on the racetrack and keep the brakes and everything on it. And, we'll see what happens. But a little conservative qualifying. I wish we'd have been up there a little bit closer to the front. But 7th, not bad. And I'm really excited about today. It's a good weather's good. And I like this racetrack.
This new tire they brought here hasn't been very good for many drivers, yet it seems to play right into your hands. How is this tire different?
Well, I can't tell a lot of difference. The tire has a little bit more grip off the corner on the throttle, so it seems like it turns about the same, and it doesn't fall off as much as the other tire did. So I think Goodyear brought a better tire, and I got to say something about what the racetrack's done to this place. A bunch of safety improvements, a bunch of spots. They spent a great deal of time and money fixing this racetrack, and it's beautiful.
All right, Greg Biffle looking for his first win on a road course in the Cup Series. Alan?
Okay, Jamie, thanks. When you're at a road course, pit strategy and fuel mileage become huge factors. And judging by last year's race, the key moment may happen early. We compare the strategies last year of race winner Tony Stewart and the man who chased him to the checkered flag, Marcus Ambrose. Most of the leaders pit here at lap 19, but Ambrose stays on the racetrack till a little bit later on.
Yeah, he was trying to take advantage and get up front and take track position by staying on the racetrack. He thought that he was going to be good enough, get good enough fuel mileage that he could make it last throughout the day.
But by the time Ambrose pitted here under green at lap 30, it put him, lap 30 and then again at lap 43, it put Ambrose back to 30th. Yeah. It took him to lap 69 of 90 to get up to second, and he could never catch Stewart and get around him.
Actually did the opposite of what we thought it was going to do. If he had went ahead and stayed on sequence, he'd have been closer to Tony Stewart's bumper at the end of that race and gave himself a better chance to win.
Two-tire thing that's decided the races the last couple of weeks. Going to be a factor on the road course today or not?
No, it's not going to be a factor whatsoever. I think the strategy today, Alan, is going to be no tires or 4 tires. You got to remember, folks, you're turning left and right. It's not like last week at Pocono where all the pressure's on the right side tires. It's going to be 4 or none.
Give me one other key to this race for you.
Oh, the number one key, I'm going to give you 2. Don't wheel hop. Don't let the car wheel hop, and you got to stay on the course. If you can pull that off, you got a good chance of running up front.
I think one of the big things that people never talk about is keeping these race cars nice, neat, and square. These guys are so good that if you get your car dinged up, knock the hood in, knock the valence off, do something like that, the arrow gets screwed up on these cars, and you cannot run up front with the good guys. You got to keep your race car nice and neat.
All right, so some of the keys to the race as we get. Was that just
Ernie Irvin?
Ernie Irvin, I saw sitting next to Boris Said. Pretty cool there. And the drivers getting ready to go and awaiting the opening ceremony. Our J-Ski news and notes now. Friday, Richard Petty Motorsports announced they've signed A.J. Allmendinger to a multi-year contract extension. Team says it has more announcements in the works for its 2011 plans. The Atlanta Motor Speedway announced Thursday they would only have 1 Sprint Cup race next year versus the 2 the track has held every year since 1960. A press conference is scheduled at Kentucky Kentucky Motor Speedway this Tuesday, where it's expected to announce that's where the Atlanta race is moving. And sources told ESPN.com this weekend the chase for the Sprint Cup will begin at Chicagoland Speedway in 2011 instead of New Hampshire Motor Speedway. NASCAR expected to make a full schedule announcement in the near future. Getting ready to go racing at Watkins Glen. The opening ceremony is next. ESPN's coverage of the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series comes to you today from Watkins Glen, New York. Our telecast presented by GoDaddy.com. Watkins Glen, a place whose record books are filled with some of the great names in the history of auto racing. And today, one more name will join the list of winners at the Glen. This is the second NASCAR Sprint Cup race run at the Glen on August 8th. The last one, 1993. It was won by Mark Martin. He started on the pole that day, part of a 3-year stretch where he won the pole and the race. Today, Mark starts 24th, hoping for a little more Watkins Glen magic. Time for today's opening ceremony. Let's go trackside.
Here with today's invocation, Reverend Dave Fife from Bentley Creek Wesleyan Church.
Let's pray. Lord God, we thank you for another day of racing here at Watkins Glen International. We thank you, Lord, for the sponsors and the staff and the armed forces who make this day possible. And now, Lord, we ask your blessing upon this year's running of the Heluva Good Sour Cream Dips at the Glen. Grant us a safe race and remind us that all good things come from you. Amen.
And now here with today's national anthem, please give a warm welcome to national recording artist Bo Bice.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the
And today's flyover performed by the Massachusetts Air National Guard F-15s from the 104th Fighter Wing, Barnes Air National Guard Base, Westfield, Massachusetts.
And so the drivers begin to climb aboard and buckle in, and we're just a few minutes away from the command to start engines and get today's race underway. Now, someone to keep an eye on, Clint Boyer. He's the 12th place driver, the bubble man in the race to the chase, and he starts in 34th position. Kansas Clint needs to avoid trouble and find a way towards the front to have a good big picture day, and he can do it. Started 38th and finished 9th last year. The engines fire at Watkins Glen next.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at Watkins Glen is presented by GoDaddy.com. Domains, websites, and everything in between. And in part by Chevrolet. Every model is backed by a 100,000-mile, 5-year powertrain limited warranty.
Why don't you pull up a chair and lean in? Now, let me tell you a little something about the Glen. Watkins Glen, a small town with a mighty roar.
I feel no shame, I'm proud of where I came from. I was born and raised in the boondocks.
It all started back in '48. The day they stopped the trains. Dirt, gravel, cement, and an army of American pride. You know, that was the first race after World War II. Well, now you know.
One thing I know, no matter where I go, I keep my heart and soul in the Boondocks.
Small but mighty. Yes, we are. How small? Well, Watkins Glen is actually a village. And the local track? Well, it's as big as the whole area. And nasty, too.
Jeff Bodine has crashed hard.
Neither one of these guys are happy here.
We have got cars everywhere. Big wreck behind you.
Carnage down here at the end of pit road. I love road racing.
It's crazy.
Some learn the Glen is an especially proud small town. Once they get a taste of it, they don't want to let it go.
Tony Stewart winner at Watkins Glen.
But here comes that roar again. Rumbling off the plains down to the lake, throughout the entire village. Yeah, someone's gonna lead the pack. Someone's gonna make their own small town proud. Someone's gonna take the Glen. Someone.
The small town with the big reputation for racing, Watkins Glen, New York, where the 25th modern era race for the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series on the famed Watkins Glen International Road Course is moments away from starting. Absolutely beautiful weather conditions, 81 degrees, a little breezy, as we get set to go trackside now for the command to start engines and get this race underway.
And now, with the most famous words in motorsports, here's your Grand Marshal, Senior Vice President Operations Heluva Good, Scott Blake.
On behalf of Heluva Good and all of its employees, drivers, start your engines!
Get fired up. One ready. Fire one ready, big. Chair okay. Tempo.
We are ready for this field to roll off onto the course, and we are ready for all the action from the charge down the hill into turn one to the final corners of the final laps. And to take us through it all, we go upstairs to Dale Jarrett, Andy Petrie, and Marty Reed. Gentlemen.
And thank you, Alan. Hello again, everybody. You know, you mentioned earlier about Carl Edwards being on pole. Roush Racing has won 4 road course races every single time they have started on pole. Maybe it's an omen for today for Carl and the team. But I know you guys want to talk about a couple of other guys a little further back, especially second and third.
Well, Ganassi has his 2 cars in second and third, and Montoya, we know he's a great road racer, but Jamie McMurray comes in here and one-ups him in qualifying. So, you know, McMurray's done a lot of great things this year. Maybe he can get his first road course win. Ganassi's been strong. They won the Grand Am race yesterday. Got a great road race package here.
Yeah, I'm going to go back just a couple of spots further than that. The man that I'm looking at, Tony Stewart. First or second in the last 6 races here. That's just an incredible feat. I don't know how you go about doing that with all the strategy that it takes, the things that are happening all around you, but Tony, obviously an excellent road racer. Talked to him yesterday afternoon. He feels very confident he can make that happen again.
Flip side of the coin, Team Hendrick. Remember, Jimmy Johnson sat on pole for this race last year. He is the best of the 4 team cars, and that's 9th.
Now, these guys have really struggled. I know they're working hard, trying to work together to come up with something that will work for all 4 of their cars.
Well, they have been working hard, and they've taken notes from some other teams, the Stuart Haas team, and they've put a lot of this into this, a lot of effort into this race. They're still not giving up on it.
Well, time for us to check in with our over-the-wall reporter. And this weekend, it's going to be Chris Brook. He's the front tire carrier for Robbie Gordon. And Chris, there you are. And got a question for you, buddy. What's going to be your biggest challenge today with these reverse pit stops?
The biggest challenge is basically making no mistakes. You got to go out there and do no mistake racing. If you do that, you're going to be fine, and you're going to turn a 13-second stop. And everything works out, we're going to be in victory lane at the end of the day.
Hey, you guys have a safe day down there. Good luck.
Thank you, Marty.
All right, let's also talk about the man who's going to be our in-race reporter, because he stunned everybody yesterday with his 3rd win in a row in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. He looked like he had total control. Will he have that control today? Well, we'll ask him when we come back here to the Glen.
What a glorious sight from high above Watkins Glen International. We have got a great crowd on hand. And let's show you this 2.45-mile layout. We look down from high above. The full course includes the boot, and we'll show it to you on the lower right-hand side of the screen.
Yeah, but we're not going to run all of that. We're going to take away part of it and only run 2.45 miles around this road course. See as we start down in turn 1, downhill, hard braking, up through the S's, fastest part of the track on the back straightaway, into the bus stop, Andy.
And down this straightaway into the left-hander, turn 6, which is a very tight corner, fast corner, then to turn 7 and leads you down to the front straightaway.
And the man who mastered it yesterday in the NASCAR Nationwide Series is our in-race reporter, Marcus Ambrose. Let's talk to him.
Hey, Marcus, Dale Jarrett, the ESPN. You have a copy?
Yeah, sure do, Dale.
All right, Marcus, let's go right to a question from one of your fans. Sean in Gastonia, North Carolina, asked, what are some of the major differences at Watkins Glen and Sonoma, and how are you going to race differently here to capitalize today?
It's going to be a long, tough day today. Sonoma's all about twists and turns. This track here, it's high-speed bends and brakes. You really got to manage your brakes here today, and it's very easy to get caught out in these high-speed corners, particularly turns 2, 3, and 4. So it's going to be a long day for all of us, but looking forward to it.
Hey, Marcus, I want to get into the ability that you show as a road racer. I mean, you're a great racer all the way around, but on these road courses, you're just phenomenal, and I'm sure that you're going to tell us that the car has a lot to do with it, but we've seen you get in all kinds of cars and get the job done. Can you let us in a little bit on your secret of getting around here?
If I knew, I'd put it in a bottle and take it with me everywhere I went, because I don't know why I go so good here in the road courses compared to the ovals, but I'm learning the ovals. It's still fairly new to me, and I hope one day to be as good as Jimmy Johnson and the rest of them. But right now, we're at Watkins Glen. We've got a chance to win. Can't wait.
All right, have a great day, Marcus. Hope to see you back in victory lane again here today. Now, Andy's going to talk to your crew chief, Frank Kerr.
Thanks, guys. Hope to see you in victory lane.
Hey, Frankie Kerr, Andy Petrie in the booth. You got us?
Hey,
Hey, Frankie, you know, strategy is everything at these road courses, and you have to figure how many caution laps you're going to have. Usually use that as your calculation. With the new changes in the racetrack, are you going to have to adjust that number any?
Absolutely. We are still figuring out here. You know, it's going to be tough because there's not going to be as many cautions. If there is, it's just going to be like a big one like yesterday. So it's going to be a cat and mouse game of fuel mileage, and if there is cautions, what you're going to do.
Well, Frank, good luck with your strategy and good luck today. Thanks for talking to us.
Thanks, guys, and hopefully we'll get wet again today at the end of the race.
Well, we talk about the caution laps. Yesterday's nationwide race, the average was 15. We ran 5 fewer. The average here, 15. And the fewest laps, 7. So maybe that will be the key. Stay with us when we come back. We're going green. The 43-car field will be led to the green by Carl Edwards, picking up his 5th pole and his 215th start. It's the 13th different pole winner this year in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. Starting grid will come across the top of the screen. 3 cars did not make the field. J.J. Yaley, Dave Blaney, Tony Ave. We've got 1 car going to the rear. That's the number 12 of Brad Keselowski. They blew a motor the first day of practice. Let's get the final reports from pit road. You know, the battle to make the chase is all important with 5 to go. Let's bring in Mike Massaro.
And one of those guys near the bubble is Ryan Newman. He's 15th in the standings, 138 points removed from that coveted 12th spot. While they did gain a little bit of ground last week in Pocono, it was not nearly as much as they'd hoped for in this race to the chase. Crew Chief Tony Gibson told me this morning there is frustration, and it's been multiplied by the fact they've struggled all week long. An extremely loose race car. So much, in fact, they've had to lean on their teammate, Tony Stewart. They've adopted his entire setup and put it in this 39 race car, hoping it allows them to survive today, something that's key if they hope to keep their bubble from bursting with just 5 regular season races remaining. Jamie Little.
And Dale Earnhardt Jr. sits 14th in the standings, 129 points out of that top 12 spot. Now, with 5 races remaining, as you mentioned, every race is very critical. Well, Dale Jr. doesn't have an optimistic outlook for today. He got out of his race car after qualifying and said, this is the worst race car I've ever had here. He qualified 40th, the worst of the year, and because of that, they got one of the toughest pit boxes. The first one when you enter pit road, very tough to get in and out. It's going to be a tough day for Dale Jr. on track and in the pits today. Dave Burns.
Jamie, Mark Martin is 13th in points right now, just 34 markers out of contending for the chase. The good news is he's won 3 times here at Watkins Glen, and he's led over 200 laps. More good news, he finished 7th last week and picked up 28 points on 13th position. On the bad side, they struggled here all weekend so far and qualified 24th. Somewhere in between, well, the guy he's chasing didn't have a great weekend either so far, Vince.
That's exactly right, Dave. Clint Boyer is on the chase bubble, and he will start 32nd today after having a wicked loose car in qualifying. Now, the good news for Boyer is that he was in the top 15 in both practice sessions, so he should have something to work with as he tries to come up through the field. He was 9th here last year, and Marty, another top 10 would be huge for Boyer's chase chances.
And I want to welcome back Vince Welch off of the DL from race will go, and problems for the 18.
We got a problem. What is it? Lead's loose. And it ain't just a ½ inch or a ¼ inch. It feels like 6 inches. Feels like the right. Is there a center rail by the drive shaft? No. Left or right? Right.
Guys, what happened there, they ran back to the truck to get it fixed. They're going to take off the right rear, put an aluminum spacer in it. So you see working on that right rear. They just ran back to the truck to get the parts to do it. So a tough start for Kyle Busch, a former winner here at Watkins Glen.
Led quite a bit yesterday. I was in the battle as far as the race with Marcus Ambrose for quite a while and ended up finishing 5th in the nationwide race. He would have started 10th, but now we'll have to go to the back of the field, and that's if they can get it fixed by the time we go green. Let's show you our onboard cameras today, as we've got about 8 of them for you, with Jamie McMurray, Mark Martin, Robbie Gordon, Tony Stewart, Jeff Gordon, Juan Pablo Montoya, of course our in-race reporter Marcus Ambrose, and Boris Said. Let's go back to pit road, because it looks like he has got the repairs made and is rolling back out. And we saw a bit of this weight problem yesterday in one of our cautions in the nationwide race.
Yeah, we saw Paul Menard lose a whole container that held that ballast in there. This sounds like it's in the frame rail, and there's really no excuse for this kind of mistake. I mean, this is something you take care of in pre-race. But you see right here, Paul Menard had one of these lead rails, like you said, by the drive shaft, and it was welded on there. Not good enough, obviously, and it came off here on the racetrack, brought out a
Do you change your strategy already, Andy?
Well, you're not able to fuel the car here before the green flag, so really had to kind of stay on it. But you're starting at the rear now, so he might be able to take advantage of some strategy.
And the report was that Menard lost a total of 150 pounds of tungsten in that one little section that came out. Here's our race analysis. We're going to go 90 laps, just over 220 miles. Pit road speed is 35. That's right, just 35. And the pit window, 33 to 37 laps. And as we mentioned, all the safety changes. We saw a decrease in the total number of caution laps. As you can see, the teams coming through one of those sections that has been improved and heading for another, what is NASCAR calls turn 6.
Yeah, as you see him heading down, that'll be the left-hander turn 6, and then as we go by the numbers here, be turn 7. You can see the right-hander before you get to the front straightaway.
Let's listen in on the 18 radio once again.
Good call, bud. I'm sorry. Keep your wits about you. Let me vent for you. Drive up to there. We'll get your track position, fuel strategy.
Dave Rogers and the team reassuring Kyle, said get focused on what you need to do. It's a long race.
Like Dale said, they can use a little different strategy now. They're kind of forced into it, but you know, they'll do what they can to get him back up there.
Carl Edwards in the 99 leads him down through turn number 6. He'll be on driver's right alongside Jamie McMurray with Montoya, Allmendinger in row 2, then Kurt Busch and Tony Stewart, last year's winner.
Yeah, you see the big runoff area there from turn 6 now. That's different also. You can see the sand traps way back there, so we could see a lot more action through that part of the race course.
Don't count Kyle Busch out. He won from the rear after an engine change at Las Vegas last year. They come down the front straightaway. The crowd has come to their feet. And here we are at Watkins Glen. And as they make their way towards the front straight and the start-finish line, race number 22, the Heluva Good at the Glen, is green.
I saw some guys making some moves there before the start-finish line. We'll have to see how NASCAR viewed that.
Gonna go 2 abreast up through the S's. It didn't work very well yesterday. 3 wide down into 2.
Yeah,
now they're starting to sort out.
Yeah, this is where you have to really be. You can go up through there too wide, but both cars are going to be pedaling the throttle and not carrying as much speed.
Movement in the middle there. You see Jimmy Johnson looking to the inside in the 48 through the bus stop for the first time. It's Carl Edwards in front.
Well, you can see back after those first 10 or 12 cars that things really get tight.
Side by side, Jeff Gordon's got a bunch of issues with Robbie Gordon. And Gordon takes the position.
You're going to see a lot of aggressive moves for track position early because it's so important. I mean, just a couple of spots right here could mean, 4 or 5 seconds, 5 laps from now.
Heading down towards turn 6 in a battle for the lead. Jamie McMurray dives in at a very difficult spot, runs out of space for Carl Edwards. Edwards trying to come back as they go through the final corner. McMurray's going to have the lead at the end of lap number 1.
Jamie McMurray's just impressed me so much this year.
Down the front straightaway, Juan Pablo Montoya is diving to the inside of the 99, and he's going to take second. A.J. Allmendinger trying to make a dash towards that inside as they head down towards 2. He's going to take the spot. Edwards has got an issue. He is going back, fellas.
Just saw Greg Biffle make a pass, though, on Kurt Busch.
And he's coming up on his teammate.
Tight.
Edwards just says he's tight. Well, look at Biffle go, man.
Yeah, and that could go away here. Biffle's probably going to get this spot by outbraking. He's got the preferred line getting up there into the bus stop.
Already see
got a tight situation. It's just the front tires aren't gripping. That doesn't allow him to get back to the throttle and carry any speed off of these corners.
These guys are clipping the corners so much they're getting over into the dirt. Let's check on the 18 of Kyle Busch. It looks like he has climbed a total of now 6 positions. There he is, right behind the 07 of P.J. Jones.
Hey, with the competition as close as it is this day and time, that's a tall order to try to pass these cars. Difficult road course, but the competition just so close makes it very difficult. Kyle will have to use all of his expertise here today.
Kyle just picked off PJ, and next it's Elliott Sadler.
And one of the big negatives is how much car he's going to have to use. Starting back there and making these passes, he's going to have to use a ton of brakes, and it's just going to be really hard on the car to get his way back up through here.
Up front, you can see the top 3 are the same. Look at Denny Hamlin trying to take a peek underneath the 48. Of course, right in front of the 48 is Marcus Ambrose, yesterday's winner.
Yeah, and right here in front of him is the man that's either won or finished second in the last 6 races here. So that's 2 guys we'll keep our eye on all day long here.
Jamie McMurray through the bus stop chicane. You know, you mentioned Tony Stewart. You had an interesting conversation with who he thought was going to be the key players.
Yeah, he seemed to think from practice yesterday and what he saw from their computer and also on the racetrack. He thought that the 42 of Montoya, the 11 of Denny Hamlin, the 47 of Ambrose were the guys that he was going to have to contend with more than anyone else, just by what he saw from practice.
But I see so far, you may want to throw McMurray in there.
He might be thinking that right now.
Kevin Harvick takes a peek to the inside. Cannot make the pass on the 36 of Ron Fellows. Fellows doing double duty, ran the Nationwide Series yesterday.
Yeah, these 2 battled a little bit yesterday in that Nationwide Series. Obviously different race cars, but just shows their talents. And when you get these good road racers up there, you'll see them in whatever car you put them in.
Now, Harvick finished 3rd, Fellows 6th in yesterday's action. In fact, the top 6 in yesterday's Nationwide race are all running today in the Sprint Cup Series. 26 of Patrick Carpentier with Joey Logano. And Joey, of course, finishing 2nd yesterday with a great run on the road course here at the Glen.
Oh, he had a stellar day yesterday. He pushed Marcus Ambrose. He's really probably, besides Kyle Busch, was the only ones that could really push Marcus Ambrose. Came up 2nd, but had a great race.
Okay, you see him kicking up a lot of this dust. What's that going to do to traction coming out of that corner?
Yeah, it's going to make things kind of dicey there, because every time you see that, it's putting something on the racetrack there with that dirt. But that's what these guys have figured out, that they can go across there, not lose the traction. They're driving straighter out of the corners. We see Montoya now getting ready to pressure his teammate for the lead.
Yeah, he's turned the intensity level up a little bit here. He's made up probably half a second this lap on McMurray.
Well, this is the 9th race that Jamie has led here in 2010. He had led only 1 race at this point in the season last year. Allmendinger still running 3rd. There goes Biffle. A little bit further back, Jeff Gordon was taking a peek on Robbie and was not able to get it done. Looking at the lap times, Montoya has just turned the fastest lap of the race, 1:12.4. Got Elliott Sadler making an early stop. He was running further back in the field, so he gets a top off and gets back out to racing.
And Elliott's car's not that good. We're going to see a lot of different strategies, but somebody like Elliott, whose car's not that good, he didn't want to lose any more time to the leaders before he made that opportunity before a caution came out.
Biffle and Edwards right there, the teammates running 4th and 5th. Edwards started on pole. You heard him say the car is tight. Hopefully it comes to him. We do have a bit of cloud cover rolling in. No threat of rain, but it may cool down the track temperature. Welcome back to the Hell of a Good at the Glen. Make sure to go to NASCAR.com for all your latest NASCAR information. And as you can tell from high above, looking down, we had a lead change during the break. And you also have second place under contest as A.J. Allmendinger's trying to get around former leader Jamie McMurray. Let's hang with us just for a second to see if Allmendinger can pull this off.
He's dogging him every corner right now. AJ's doing a great job. He is a good road racer, though. In the IndyCar Series, he won 3 road races and 2 on the streets, so he knows how to get it done turning left and right.
That was back when he won the 2006 Champ Car Championship. And look at Jamie trying to take a peek on the inside, and he's got him.
He takes second, and he also has the second fastest race lap on the board.
So the new contract for A.J. Allmendinger to his liking. It's got him ramped up. All right, let's go back. Coming out of the S's, this is how the lead changed.
It's 2 teammates just doing what they need to do. McMurray sees Montoya coming, and he says this is a good spot to give it to him. Doesn't lose a lot of time, and they just ease right through the bus stop. Jamie?
Well, I talked to Kevin Bono Mannion, crew chief for Jamie McMurray this morning, and he told me that both Juan Pablo Montoya and Jamie McMurray struggled at Sonoma. They had to work so hard just to be okay. They went back to the shop. The engineers went to work on the car itself, and they found what they think is the solution, hence the great qualifying effort and the domination by the 42 right now. But the guy in the middle of those two, A.J. Allmendinger, having a heck of a day, guys.
He sure is at this early stage of the race. And right now, Jamie McMurray's a little under attack from Greg Biffle. While we've got a moment, it's your car, your drive, and your chance to win. Enter for a chance to meet a Team Chevy driver and win your favorite Chevrolet at winyourchevy.com. And Chevy has won this race here at the Glen 11 of the last 13 times, and they're leading right now with another Chevy in 3rd. And Juan Pablo Montoya's lead now 2.3 seconds, and Biffle closing down even more now on Jamie McMurray.
Craig Biffle was the fastest car in both practice sessions. There's
you're all right, bud.
Kevin
you're
Conway
right. Just get it
spun
back
around in
going.
the bus
Get back
stop.
rolling. You're all good. Clear all around.
Yeah.
Kevin Conway, and that's not the first time or last time we're going to see that happen today.
Yes, that's an action spot.
Well, they've given them some runoff room there, and these guys are all trying to carry some more speed through that part, getting in there. We've seen, conversely, a lot of guys be loose. They took away a big bump right there where Montoya just went. You see a battle back here. Carl Edwards trying to go around his teammate as Biffle's trying to get around Jamie McMurray, but they're really carrying more speed through this bus stop than what they have in the past.
Kurt Busch right behind the 99, and we mentioned the fact that maybe the car would start coming to him as the run went on, and it looks like after losing the pole position and falling back to that position of 5th, he now is looking better.
Well, like I said, the 16 car was really fast in all the practice sessions, but here we see Conway, he just loops it getting into there. Locks up the rear wheels, and that's just a case of having a little too much rear brake.
To drive it that far into there, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
But, Edwards, we were talking about, he came out of nowhere to get the pole, so he's kind of faded a little bit, but Biffle's not a surprise that he's moving ahead.
Notice Marcus Ambrose just went through the screen as well. And how about Kyle Busch? Let's hold for him because he has now picked up 17 positions. But Vince, is there another problem?
Yeah, believe it or not, remember they had to come in, put that aluminum spacer in before they'd even completed a lap. So instead of starting 10th, they started at the rear of the field. Now they've got a throttle spring issue. Kyle reporting that the throttle spring has broken. And for more of a breakdown on that, let's go to Tim Brewer in the Craftsman Tech Garage.
Thanks, Vince. A lot of the teams run dual return springs, but when you take one of these springs off, it gets very, very soft. But when a driver's already driven to the point of no return, got the throttle wide open, when he backs off that gas, you need those throttle return springs to shut down that engine because, hey, anytime you get in that situation, the throttle keeps pulling the car in the corner, you're going to get in a lot of trouble.
That's right. You want to tell that car when to slow down. You don't want it to make its own mind up.
Yeah, especially as that wall's getting closer.
Yeah.
Well, he's got the throttle down more than he's got it up right now, the way he's headed forward.
And Kyle needs another good run. He's had only one top 10 finish in the last 7 races. Here we go. Marcus Ambrose looking inside of the Blue Deuce, and he's got the position over Kurt Busch.
I'm telling you, this is one of the guys you just have to watch. He knows how to make passes here. As difficult as it is with the competition as close as it is, he still knows how to make passes, and that's just what allows him to be able to get himself to the front when some others struggle to do that.
Marcus has now picked up 5 spots from his 11th starting position. He is now 6th. And his next target would be Carl Edwards. Everybody's chasing the 42 of Juan Pablo Montoya. His lead over A.J. Allmendinger, 4 seconds here at the Glen. Back here at Watkins Glen at the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. Watkins Glen race presented by GoDaddy.com after 13 laps. And here's Robbie Gordon going underneath Jimmy Johnson with Jeff Gordon trying to follow along. And both of them will make the pass. So
he's slipping a little bit right here.
That is for 12th position on the racetrack.
Yeah, that's about 4 spots that Jimmy Johnson's lost just, I think, pretty much on this lap. We saw Borstead and Sam Hornish go around him before these two, and now he's going to lose another to Ryan Newman.
Newman's got the inside track through 1, and again, everybody's just sort of knows their space out there, so they say, well, you go ahead and have that space. I'm taking the racetrack. Gordon was, or I should say Jimmy Johnson was 10th the lap prior. Now he has slipped back to 15th. Let's check in on Marcus Ambrose, because look at this. He's going underneath the 99, and he is on the move. That puts him up to 4th.
Even making all these passes, he was the fastest car on the racetrack last lap. Dave, he's making a lot of headway.
And Andy, we expected this from him, of course, with his road racing abilities, but he was a little bit concerned at the start of this race and asked crew chief Frankie Kerr if he'd done anything different to the carburetor. He says it's got a dead spot at the top end right when I hop on the gas, and I think it's going to be a concern for us. Fortunately, that hasn't hurt him so far, and he's been making his way to the front. Mike?
And throughout the course of the weekend, the 48 team has been somewhat surprising. Everybody expected them to come here strong, especially considering the Hendrick tire test here with Goodyear way back in June. Well, that has not been the case. The car has been extremely edgy, but another problem apparently developing with Jimmy Johnson. He thinks he has a left rear tire going down. He's not exactly sure if that's the case, but he does know for sure that something is wrong. He'll come down pit road. They'll make a 4-tire change just to be safe. They don't want anything to go wrong. Johnson now hits his marks. The team leaps off the wall. Remember, folks, these cars are being pitted in reverse fashion than normal. That means they'll work their way around to the left side first, then swing around to the right side. They'll also make a chassis adjustment on this race car. It's been a little bit loose, but the main concern has been the potentially good tire that had been going down. A clean stop for the 48 team, and Johnson, he's away.
And he will not lose a lap, because as you can see, he's coming out of pit road, and here comes the 42.
Yeah, I looked at it when Jimmy made that stop. It looked like that left rear tire had a lot of deflection in it. Looks like the 14 making a pass on Kevin Conway.
Matt Conway already a lap down. Let me update you. We've had a lot of things happening here. Scott Speed is off the track. They have an apparent gearbox problem. Also, Michael McDowell was off track. He has come back out. He is 8 laps down. Ambrose trying to figure out which way he wants to go here to get around the 38 of David Gilliland and also the 1 of Jamie McMurray. McMurray is the important one. That is for 3rd.
Dale, you're right. I mean, he started 11th, Ambrose did, and he's all the way up to 4th now. And just passing cars, really, when he comes to them, he's not spending a lot of time with them. McMurray's been probably the hardest one now he's had to pass.
Yeah, and these are all good race drivers out here and good road course racers, and he just goes by them. That's what I was trying to get out of him. Not that I thought he was going to tell us his secret. Even if he knows, you know, he just has a great ability to get the most out of the car and make the passes. Make his car good where you have to be good to pass. You know, your car can be good in places around this racetrack. As you can see right now, he's really setting Jamie up to make a pass coming out of turn 5 here, maybe up to turn 6. But other people might make their car fast in certain areas, but that's not where you can actually pass.
Well, down in Australia, Ambrose won the V8 Supercar Series Championship in 2003 and again in 04. During that stretch, he won 27 times, and look at this. He's got him.
Man, he set him up perfectly right there for that pass. It looked like he even stayed behind him, stayed tucked behind him in turn 6 just so he could make that move.
Yeah, and then probably loosen him up a little bit. So he knows all the tricks to make it happen, and then put all of that with the ability that he has. makes for a fast race car and driver.
And Carl Edwards is coming back to life. He gets around McMurray, so put Edwards back to the 4th position. Let's get an update from Jamie Little.
Well, Scott Speed reported that something felt like it broke, and then it had a strong vibration, and then it shut off. They pushed him behind the wall. They're checking everything now. There's oil all over the place. And very unfortunate for Scott Speed. Remember, he started 8th. They continue to work on the car, hoping to get back out, but right now it doesn't seem likely. Mike?
Well, Jamie, you don't become a 4-time champion without knowing what the race car is doing, and Jimmy Johnson correctly identified the left rear tire going down. The tires came off the car. You take a look at the left rear, you can see a slight puncture right here, and that's the culprit. That's the reason Johnson was feeling an ill effect in that race car, and they came down pit road. That was obviously the right call.
And Jimmy now 37th on the racetrack, and he is 2 cars away from going a lap down.
Yeah, the problem for the 48 team is that did put them in the pits before they were inside their window, so it's going to be a struggle strategy-wise for them the rest of the race. I'm sure Chad's down there crunching numbers.
Take a look at Jeff Burton there. I had an interesting conversation with his crew chief, Todd Barrier, and he was showing me the 10-year layout of how this race was run. Laps 21 and 22 in the last 10 years, there has never been a caution. He said, don't be surprised if we come in on one of those 2 laps, because somewhere right after that, we will see a caution and we'll get track position.
I like the way he's thinking, but this track's not anything like it was the last 10 years. They've made all these changes, so I'm sure Todd's adjusting his strategy likewise, but we'll see if it works out.
Yeah, Martin Truex there making a pass. He's got making his way forward as he went around Robbie Gordon down in turn 1.
Yeah, move Truex up to 16th. Robbie Gordon down to 17th.
Busch.
And here comes Kyle Busch, our biggest mover. He's picked up 23 spots. That's Kevin Conway, who's getting an awful lot of camera time considering he's been a lap down. And here he goes under Menard. And can he make it go? No. Paul's hanging on.
Boy, he's going to hang on
yeah,
for
just
a short
wait a minute
time here.
Joey Logano trying to follow his teammate as well. This is for 18th on the racetrack. He's got the inside line coming through 5. Now Menard's got the preferred line heading towards 6.
Let's see how this works out.
I think he'll just roll right past him, Paul. I don't think he's going to contest him right here. No reason to. This guy's come from the rear of the field to catch you. Let's see what he's doing instead of trying to hold him up.
Makes the pass. Joey Logano not able to follow.
Well, it looks like this race strategy probably going to start in a couple laps here, guys. Tony Stewart last year when he won this race, he pitted on lap 19. We're at 19 right now, so this should be the window where guys start gambling and bringing these things down pit road. But I do realize there's probably going to be less cautions, but last year, guys, it was lap 19.
Well, Juan Pablo Montoya isn't worried about lap 19 because he's got a 6-second lead right now. And boy, he is on cruise. You want to know what clean air looks like when you're leading here at Watkins Glen after 22 of 90 laps? That's the front view out of Juan Pablo Montoya's car as he goes down through turn number 1. His lead now 7.6 seconds. But let's go to Robbie Gordon because Robbie has got issues. Sprint brings you an inside look at the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup on the Now Network. Let's listen in to Robbie.
Inside. Another one coming, another one. You okay there? The transmission's broken. Hey, copy that. Transmission. Possible transmission. 10-4, I copy.
And it sounds like it's third gear based on what you guys have been able to tell. And for more NASCAR stats and in-car audio and live race radio, check out NASCAR Sprint Cup Mobile at sprint.com/speed. You can see how much it's affected him.
Well, it does it really messes everything up because you count on the downshift to slow the car down, and when you're trying to accelerate, obviously it's going to hurt you having to go from, he's going from 2nd to 4th, having to skip that gear.
Kyle Busch will be coming up on him quickly now and should make quick work of Robbie with the fact he does not have that full transmission package, and he does going into turn number 6. So now move Kyle up to the 17th position, and remember that's 25 positions better than when he started. Here's one guy who is just flying. He's led 18 laps now. In fact, for Juan Pablo, He's led more laps today than he had in his 7 previous road course starts. Combined led here 2 in 08 and 7 in Infineon. And the 83's in, Mike.
And Boris says he's a little bit loose off. The only place he's really tight, though, is through the carousel. So his instruction to Jimmy Elledge, he wanted to be loosened up a little bit. They'll do that and also take 4 tires in Sunoco race fuel, Dave.
And Sam Hornish gave Travis Geisler, his crew chief, a little bit of a challenge. Can you fix the center of the corner where I'm tight, but also fix free in and free off? He said, nope, but I'm going to go to work on the center, a track bar adjustment to try to help that tight condition.
And on the right side of your screen, you saw Marcus Ambrose get around A.J. Allmendinger. So now Ambrose, who started 11th, is up to second, 7.8 seconds behind our race leader. And now it's going to be fun watching lap times.
Well, I've been watching him before now, and Ambrose has been beating Montoya a half a second a lap pretty much every lap. I'm sure Montoya's team's telling him that he's coming.
Yeah, I think we see Ambrose go just as fast as he wants to go.
Kurt Busch has made his way to pit road as we are starting to see these green flag stops here on lap number 25. Vince?
Kurt Busch loose on entry in the rear of his race car, and that's something that's certainly been a common theme for teams throughout the course of this weekend as they try to get their hands around this Goodyear tire. 4 tires and Sunoco fuel for the 2 of Kurt Busch. Also going to make an air pressure adjustment and wedge as well. Otherwise, Kurt not been completely unhappy with his car. Said he just needs it to stay on track a little bit more on the bottom.
They complete the right side tires. Seems strange when we say they're completing the right side tires. And there he goes.
How big of an adjustment is that, Andy?
It's a pretty good adjustment. I mean, you see him coming around. They have to come around to the left side of the car, and it is so foreign for these tire changers. I've done it many times coming up here as a tire changer, and it's just a rhythm thing, and it kind of messes you up a little bit. It's really difficult for these teams to make pit stops that are as fast as they do the normal way. You see at 15.4, that's not a bad stop doing it this way.
And while Regan Smith comes back out on the track, we'll tell you that Joe Nemechek has pulled his car behind the wall. He was 37th, 1 lap down. Look at the lead. There is a gap. But Marcus Ambrose now, we're talking about his lap times. He was 0.2 quicker on the last lap, and he's got clean air in front of him.
Yeah, he's not going to be in a hurry, I don't think, Dale. I think he's in a good spot. He knows he's got a car that's faster than Montoya. They have some strategy to play out, and you know he's not going to be in a big hurry to try to take this lead.
Well, remember Robbie Gordon having the transmission problems, and Chris Brook is our front tire carrier and our over-the-wall reporter. And why don't we go over the wall with Chris, because we'll see if they can do anything to help alleviate this problem for the 7 of Robbie Gordon.
They're not going to be able to help him a whole lot right here.
And as he goes out, Juan Pablo Montoya comes in, Jamie.
Remember last week there was a lot of controversy in this pit. Juan Pablo drove off the jack 2 times. This time he's listening. The call is 4 tires. Fill it up with Sunoco fuel. He says he's just a bit tight through the inner loop and turn 1, but he has been very quiet and very happy. Down and away, Dave.
Denny Hamlin will come down pit road in the 8th, giving up the 8th position now for Hamlin. There he is right there. Then he needs 4 tires, and they're going to, on Hamlin, they really haven't said anything about the car. I think the balance has been good for him. Rents is not going into the car at this point. All they said at the beginning of the race was see you on lap 28. Kevin Harvick, the championship leader, pits behind him as well. His car was loose off. He needed some rear grip for Harvick. They reduced the air pressure in those rear tires. Mike?
And Jeff Gordon is down and away. They've made some air pressure adjustments, also a slight chassis adjustment. Gordon saying he was pushing in the middle of the rights and loose in the left-hand turn.
We also saw Jeff Burton come in. So much for that strategy of lap 21-22 that Todd Berrier told us about on Friday. Kyle Busch also makes a stop. Remember, he had picked up 25 positions.
Ambrose is in also.
And Marcus Ambrose goes an extra lap over the other guys, and he finally comes down pit road as well. There's Dale Jr. after making his stop, coming back out. Let's send it back to Dave Burns. You've got 47.
4 tires and no changes for Marcus Ambrose. You can see the view that his car has coming to pit road. What he'll need from his team is just speed right now and efficiency. He's been very good on the track so far, has not complained about that carburetor stumbling in any way. And as we see, he's made his way forward. third. It'll be a quick 4-tire change for him back on track. Mark Martin was in as well, guys. Mark's car was too loose. They changed 4 tires, made an adjustment for him. Vince?
The 43 of A.J. Allmendinger had been running second. There's the 99 of Carl Edwards, and Allmendinger is pitted right behind him. Edwards says the car is tight. Allmendinger likes his car, says it's a little bit loose in the rear end, but they just put 4 tires on it for Allmendinger. The same for the 99 of Carl Edwards. Now the 14 of Tony Stewart, he says it's tight in and out, and he said it was really tight making left turns and rights, but just 4 tires and fuel for the 14.
And as he goes out, Matt Kenseth comes back in as he had stayed out 1 extra lap. And you see several cars coming through the turn, but Tony gets out before those 3 come through. Let's go back in on Matt Kenseth's stop, Dave.
And part of Matt's plan on the road courses is just maintain and try to stay on the track all day. Done it so far. The caution's out, though, Vince.
The 9 car of Casey Kane is in. He said loose everywhere, and as you heard Dave say, caution is out. They made some significant chassis changes on the 9 of Casey Kane. As you see, the 07 is off course.
Yeah, P.J. Jones, he was struggling a couple of laps ago. He managed to get it into that runoff area at the bus stop chicane, but could get no further. That's the reason for our first caution here on lap number 28. And a big break for Casey Kane because he was able to get out.
Yeah, it was the full cycle. Looks like it happened right there, at least up front. So nobody really got called out on the track.
So let's reset the race lead for you. It is Juan Pablo Montoya with Marcus Ambrose, Carl Edwards now 3rd, A.J. Allmendinger 4th, and Kurt Busch shown in 5th. And it looks like he just has no life in that engine.
Yeah, either has an engine problem or the transmission has broken and it won't pull the rear tires anymore. So he just got off first spot that he could. And I think NASCAR, with him off there, they probably let this cycle out as far as everybody getting to pit road first. They had that opportunity to do that, and they try not to disrupt kind of the flow of the race if they don't have to.
And put a button on PJ's story. Let's send birthday wishes out to Parnelli Jones. He'll be 77 this week on August 12th. Happy birthday, Parnelli.
Jimmy Johnson, he made that unscheduled stop. He's out there now among the leaders. He's 9th, but he still has to make an extra pit stop.
Well, one of the things I was looking at was Montoya's lead was 8.4 seconds over Ambrose before the cycle of pit stops, and just before the caution came out, if our scoring monitor was accurate, it's about 2.5. So maybe the in-lap, the out-lap, all those things we talk about, something to keep in the back of your minds as we get deeper into this race. Stay with us.
Working caution here at Watkins Glen. Get ready to go back racing. We remind you that later on tonight, NASCAR Now wraps up the Watkins Glen action. 11 Eastern on ESPN2. Then the Monday Roundtable to mull it all over. 5 Eastern on ESPN2. Next weekend, the Nationwide Series. The new car back on track with the Carfax 250 in Michigan. Saturday, 1 Eastern ESPN. And next Sunday, it's the Carfax 400 for the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. Coverage at 1 Eastern on ESPN. We begin at noon Eastern with NASCAR Countdown. So now we get a little head-to-head matchup with Juan Pablo Montoya and Marcus Ambrose, DJ.
Hey, Marcus, Dale Jarrett, you have a copy?
Yeah, sure do, Dale.
Man, looks like you got a pretty fast race car there. Any issues with it?
Yeah, I mean, the hard work, no doubt about it. Brakes got to be used there a little bit. Montoya's pretty quick, so we'll see if he's been foxy tonight, but I feel pretty comfortable. We've got a good car for top 5 at least.
Okay, man, good luck. Thanks for talking.
Thank you.
All right, while we've got a moment, let's listen in on one of the other radios. Here's what Jeff Gordon had to say.
I really didn't feel like I was using the brakes very hard. We've had a lot of fade.
Long pedal fade, you mean? Pedals long?
Yeah, just having to pump them up. And, you know, if I hit those curves and don't remember to pump it up, man, it about goes to the floor.
Conversations, brakes.
No, it's not the last time you're going to hear that today. I mean, brakes are the whole thing here at this racetrack. And at the end of the race, I mean, you're going to have less brakes at the end, and it's who has the best ones up front. If they've got good brakes at the end of the race, they'll have a lot to work with.
All right, let's reset it for you. It's Juan Pablo Montoya on point with Marcus Ambrose, then Carl Edwards, A.J. Allmendinger, Kurt Busch, Jamie McMurray, Greg Biffle, Denny Hamlin, Tony Stewart, Boris Said. That's your top 10. Sam Hornish Jr. and Jeff Gordon back in row number 6. Pace car pulls back onto pit road. They'll come down the front straightaway. Again, this great crowd here at Watkins Glen comes to its feet on the main grandstand. And we're waiting for the green flag to fly. And Come on, guys, throw it. Let's go racing. Here we go. Great restart for Montoya. Look at this, 4 wide. Tony Stewart's trying to make a move.
There's a big move, getting into 1.
Denny Hamlin side by side with Jamie McMurray, as you see there. Sam Hornish Jr. on the inside also. 3 wide up through the S's. It better sort out quickly.
Yeah, and Carl Edwards got by Marcus Ambrose on that. That's a big move there. That's going to give Montoya a little cushion.
Yeah, Ambrose did not get a good start getting into turn 1.
Kurt Busch coming up on him. Jamie McMurray. There's Denny Hamlin and Tony Stewart side by side. Hamlin gets in front and holds the position. Right behind is the 83 of Boris Said of Stewart. Then there's Greg Biffle. Already, Juan Pablo Montoya trying to open up a bit of ground. Ambrose wants that position back from Carl Edwards, takes a peek, won't be able to do it. See if he sets him up like we saw him do a couple of laps ago.
Well, he did a little different that lap. He didn't stay right on his bumper getting into that left-hander.
Yeah, and the difference is that Carl Edwards has fresh tires here versus when he did that with Jamie McMurray. Those tires had worn some, and the handling had gone away a little bit. This is a lot different. He's going to try to outbrake him into 1 right now.
And is he going to be able to pull it off? Remember, he said he's been using them hard to get up this far. He's got the spot, and here comes Kurt Busch trying to go by as well.
And we call it outbraking. It should be less brake in there because he carries more speed, but he did a great job. Nice pass.
So Carl goes back 2 spots in less than a quarter and a half. A.J. Allmendinger now closing on him. Look at Jamie McMurray further back. He took a bit of a look underneath Allmendinger. Couldn't get it. Further back is Tony Stewart right now running in 8th. And Tony Stewart is who we will focus on in our Gillette Glide profile. His first 11 starts. See the average finish with only 1 top 5 in the last 10. Has been the case. He is getting better and better when its money time is near. Tony right now 3.3 seconds behind the race lead. Carl Edwards still has A.J. Allmendinger trying to take a peek at him. Tony's got to get on his horse to catch up to Denny Hamlin.
Yeah, but I think Tony knows that we're just over a third of the way through this. See Allmendinger jump out trying to make a move on Carl Edwards. Has to jump back in line.
A little tire smoke from Carl. He goes wide. Can Allmendinger sneak underneath him? Here they come through too. AJ's got the preferred line.
Well, you saw that move that Allmendinger made by moving out of the mirror of Carl Edwards. That made Carl overdrive that corner a little bit. You saw the tire smoke, puts him out of position, and Allmendinger made the pass easily.
Yeah, you glance up in the mirror, you don't see that guy. All of a sudden, you're too far down there. You have to apply a little more brake, just like you said, and it was perfectly done.
Carl has to take the defensive line through the bus stop chicane because Jamie McMurray was coming fast. Now Jamie's got his mirrors full of the 11 of Denny Hamlin. While all this is going on, guess what? The battle up front's getting a little tighter. Here comes Ambrose, closing on Juan Pablo Montoya, and in 3rd place, Kurt Busch, making a fine run right now.
I'm sure Montoya's team's been telling him Ambrose has been coming and running fast laps, but this is the first time he's seen it firsthand. He's got him right in the mirror now.
And I guess the question is, if he gets up close to him, how much will he want to use up the car, especially those brakes, just to get the lead?
He'll want to use them a lot because if he can get by this car, if he can get by Montoya, he can get out there and set his own pace and use the brakes the way he wants to use them.
Yeah, we got a lot of laps, but this literally could be the pass for the win because there's so much strategy involved in how difficult it is to pass, especially someone like Marcus Ambrose, who has such a good race car and such great skills here.
Well, you saw on turn 1 that Juan Pablo lit the brakes up a little bit, smoking the right rear tire, going down into 1. Here we go, heading for the bus stop. Gives him something to think about, but Ambrose pulls back in.
You're going to see these guys use that strategy of just pulling out of the mirror, just getting out of the, moving over, even if they're not there. That guy in front doesn't know how far up he is when he can't see him.
Through turn 5. Ambrose not close enough to make it an issue heading to a 6.
Yeah, and even though these guys utilize, most drivers and teams will utilize about 3 spotters around this racetrack, you still can't rely on, as a driver, them to know and be able to see exactly what's taking place there.
Coming through turn 11 again. Marcus close enough. Is he close enough to make a pass at the other end of this front straightaway?
Doesn't look like it this lap.
We've completed 34 of 90 laps. Again, he looks inside, thinks better of it. Montoya has led 27 of them. McMurray 5, Marcus 2. They've been our 3 leaders. We've had 4 lead changes. We're on board with Marcus.
Yeah, up through a very fast part of the racetrack here. You can lose the nose following a car up here, and there's not much room either way. But if you're going to try to make a move at the end of this straightaway to dive inside, then you've got to try to hang with him.
Here he goes, taking another look. Can he outbrake him? Not this time.
Boy, he sure made Montoya drive hard into that corner.
Boy, he did. You can see Montoya's car wiggle a little bit, which meant he was on the race a little harder. A little nudge right here.
He's right on his back bumper through 5.
Well, these are 2 great road racers going at it.
This is fun to watch. Hope you are enjoying this at home. We're not even halfway through this race yet. These guys are running like it's the last 2 laps.
You know, Ambrose seems to have the ability to really charge a corner hard, not slow his car down, but not be out of shape in the center and then get the drive off. Most other drivers, if they're going to get that drive off, then they can't get to the corner that hard. And he's just able to do all the things that you have to do to be really, really fast. See him close in once again. See Montoya actually slide the right front tire just a little bit in the center of the corner there.
Coming up through the S's. Here they go again.
Montoya. One place looks like Montoya is better than Ambrose is in this part of the track.
Well, I think it's a lot of it may be, or some of it may be the fact that when you're the car behind there, you're not getting the air to your nose of your car, and so you're having to kind of float through there a little bit, and so then you lose a little bit of time because you can't stay completely in the throttle. He's in the throttle here, though.
Just to let you know, folks, we're staying on this because this is the best battle on the racetrack. This is the one that's nose to tail, and it just happens.
Oh, look at that.
Race
Look
lead.
at that.
Here we go.
Off the track. He's going to make a move right here. Montoya knows it, too. You see him trying to block.
Here he comes. Can he make it stick? He's looking to the inside. Montoya's having none of it.
Okay, if Ambrose get a good run off this corner, he can make that pass in turn 1.
Oh, so close to that safer barrier.
Montoya got off the corner pretty good, though.
Yeah, this makes it so hard when you have 2 guys with just exceptional talent here.
Here we go. He takes another look, but again, just not close enough to dive for the corner.
Well, that's such a great shot from Ambrose's car to see just how Montoya's driving this thing and he's having to walk it around. It's just loose and he's staying in the throttle.
It's like you say, Dale, I think just having that lead really helps Montoya up through the S's. That's probably the fastest part of the racetrack in the corners.
While these 2 have been knocking each other tooth and nail, the guy behind, Kurt Busch, is holding station very well. He's not letting those 2 get away from him by that much.
No, but even as hard as they're racing each other right here, they're still running the 2 fastest laps on the track, which is pretty amazing. You'd think most of the time, because you're looking in the mirror, if you're the guy in the lead, the guy behind obviously is wanting to try to go, and you might not, you'd be slowing down some, but that's not the case with these 2.
While you continue to watch this, let me update you. Behind Kurt Busch in 3rd, it's A.J. Allmendinger 4th, Carl Edwards 5th, Jamie McMurray 6th, and Greg Biffle in 7th. Let's try it one more time, going down towards turn number 1.
Looks like Ambrose kind of settled down just a little bit right here for a lap or so.
Yeah, he has a little bit. And I'll tell you what makes it more difficult for him trying to make this pass is the engine that's in that 42 car. I mean, he's doing a great job of driving, but you can see him stretch it out on these straightaways, and that's a big advantage to him.
And that's another place. That engine really helps up through this section of the racetrack, up this hill.
Well, maybe he's changed his strategy. Instead of diving for turn 1, trying to get the momentum coming up here, maybe get him going into the bus stop.
Well, as you try, as you go around with each lap, you think about something a little bit different. Okay, I'm not going to be able to make the pass right here, so I have to try a little different strategy.
Can't get it done again. They follow each other, nose to tail through the bus stop chicane. This has been going on now for about, what, the last 4 or 5 laps. They've been less than a car length between the 2 of them for most of each one of those laps.
Yeah, we talk about the ability that Ambrose has, but just, I tell you, leading in a situation like this on a road course, I mean, there's so many opportunities just to overdrive it just a little bit, and that guy behind you is going to pounce. Montoya hasn't wavered not 1 inch.
Well, he hasn't flinched, you're right. I mean, that's got to be difficult to do what he's doing from the lead.
Let's give it one more shot here down the front straightaway. We've been watching this for the better part of 8 minutes right now, and there's another thing maybe we need to think about it. Maybe Marcus is saying, hey, I got to let these brakes breathe a little bit, cool them down, maybe take a little run a little bit later.
Yeah, there are definitely some of the times that he has to pull out to cool his engine and his brakes some.
Well, we'll let you know as we get ready to head to commercial break. Elliott Sadler had a bit of an off, no contact, no yellow. He's back on track. He's A-OK. Well, back here at the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at Watkins Glen, presented by GoDaddy.com. And sure enough, we stayed with it for 8 minutes. The minute we go away, guess what happened? Marcus Ambrose gets around the 4201 Pablo Montoya. Let's take you back and show you what happened.
He was just dogging him in every corner here. And you can see him go high and low. This is coming down into turn one. He was able to outbrake him here, take that spot away.
They've been going at each other for so many laps that I think Marcus looked in the mirror, saw that 2 car. You can see right there, he's getting closer. Kurt Busch, he said, I got to go.
Yeah, because if the 2 car gets to him, he's got to play defense a little bit. He can't be on the offense nearly as much, so he made things happen.
Inner loop now.
And we got a
coming in.
spin down us. Bobby Labonte in a very precarious position, right in the middle of the race line. He can't get the car refired. Also, Brad Keselowski, that's coming out towards turn number 6. And we have our second caution.
Yeah, we got a lot of debris up there in the inner loop where Bobby went through the grass there.
See a tire mark on the 09. I'm wondering if that had anything to do with it.
Quite possibly.
He's got it refired again, but the full course caution is out. Our second one here on lap number 42. We're almost to halfway. Joe Nemechek, we should tell you, went back out onto the track. He was behind the wall for a while. Also, as we said, P.J. Jones is off. Michael McDowell has come back out on the track, and Scott Speed. All right, here.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's what the problem is. That's where that donut came from.
2 veteran drivers going at it.
And then here's what happened to Brad. Oh, he just got loose. And
a little contact there.
Didn't hurt it too bad.
And then one lap prior to all this, a little contact between Regan Smith gets into Ron Fellows. Those two were able to keep going, and that did not bring out the caution. It was that last series that we saw that created this second caution. And Scott Speed, remember, he had problems before with the transmission. We mentioned he had just come back out onto the racetrack. He's in 41st position.
It's a little bit of a break for Jimmy Johnson. He had to make that stop under the last caution because he had made that earlier stop to get back on sequence. He's made his way back up to 21st, and this enables him now to close up to the field and make up some of the time he lost.
Yeah, he restarted 31st, and you're right. He gets a lot of track position back, especially with the side-by-side double file restart. So let's listen in on Juan Pablo.
Keep doing your thing, man. He's driving like a maniac. Keep being smooth. You're all good.
Oh, sounds more like we were listening to Brian
Looked to me like all of them were driving like maniacs.
Well, it was fun. I guarantee you that. It was fun for us. I hope they were having fun. You know, we were talking about the number of caution laps and how it affected yesterday's race. Because of the new safety improvements, we were 5 fewer caution laps than average. And look at this right now, guys. We are almost to halfway, and we are working our 4th caution lap total.
Yeah, this one shouldn't last too long. They just got a little grass over there in the bus stop they need to clear away and go back green. I don't believe you'll see any of the leaders pit here because nobody's inside of a window.
Well, and if this had been the old track and they got over into that gravel, we'd be dragging them out, cleaning it up. Take a lot longer. Let's listen in on Marcus Ambrose's radio.
Save all you can on fuel. Everybody shut off that's going by here. So just keep it running.
Yeah, I think that's good. That was a good call there, Frankie. Hey, Dave, what are they saying?
Well, Frankie told me today that, he really didn't want to talk about Sonoma much. Can you imagine that? But when I broached the question with him, he said Marcus does know that he can shut off starting at the carousel, kind of where you start going downhill through this course. And then he said to me, when he comes by the start-finish line and by our pit box, I want to hear him click that starter and make sure that thing will still start. So they know how to do it now for sure, but Frankie's still just a little nervous about his driver saving fuel out there.
Yeah, I don't blame him, Dave. I'd be nervous too.
Well, and we got a report at the very start of the race. Jeff Gordon waited almost, what, 5 minutes after the command to fire engines.
I mean, fuel conservation and trying to work this race backwards is what it's all about. And, you know, if you can save some fuel, it can extend that a little bit more and doesn't get you caught on the racetrack when a caution would happen to fall. So everybody's going to make that pit stop as early as possible.
You know, we look here at Juan Pablo Montoya. I'm looking through the top 10, and Tony Stewart is still back there in 10th place, and I'm not sure whether he's just biding his time or if the car's just not going as fast as he would like.
Well, the race hasn't come to him yet anyway.
Yeah, but I think he's struggling some.
Yeah. I don't believe Kurt Busch's crew's getting ready to pit here, are they?
No. But back to Tony, I think Tony's struggling some. I don't think he would be back there if his car was where he wanted it to be.
Remember, the last 6 years, he has finished either first or second in each of those races. Is Marcus giving a little fake?
It wouldn't work.
No, he makes a little dive, and everybody says, you go ahead. We're staying out here. We'll be back with more as we approach halfway here at the Glen.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at Watkins Glen, presented by GoDaddy.com, is brought to you in part by Nationwide Insurance. Enter this code at CodeSpotter.com for a chance to win a Roush Ford Mustang.
Time now for the AT&T Fastest Pit Crew of the Year award. 24 is currently in the lead, but you can help determine the standings. Vote from your AT&T phone by texting the car number to 2258 for the pit crew you think is the fastest and the most valuable. We're going to squeeze in another quick break here. We're still under our second caution, approaching halfway at the Glen. Approaching halfway here at the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at Watkins Glen, presented by GoDaddy.com. And as we get ready, we'll tell you that the top 18 cars stayed out from 19th on back. They did pit. Marcus Ambrose is on point with Juan Pablo Montoya alongside Kurt Busch, Allmendinger, Edwards, McMurray. That's your top 6. We've got a total of 38 cars on the lead lap. And think about this. Marcus Ambrose, it's 10,000 miles to his home in Australia. At the halfway point, he's 100 miles from his first NASCAR Sprint Cup victory. Can he do it? Well, we're about to find out. From high above, we look down. He's got the inside. The green flag flies, and we're racing again at the Glen. Boy, he didn't get snookered on the start. Whoa, on the outside, AJ, 3 wide.
Yeah, 47.
Montoya's coming out the lead.
Montoya squeezes through. Kurt Busch squeezes through. There's something seems to be wrong with Ambrose's car. He got a good start, but then under braking, it just seemed to slow down.
Yeah, I think he missed a gear or something there, or wasn't able to get it in gear.
Yeah, on the downshift. Looked like he missed the downshift getting into 1.
Well, he's back to 4th. He's under attack from Carl Edwards. Further back, there is Clint Bowyer side by side with Jeff Gordon. And don't forget Bowyer, he's in that fight for the last spot. Here goes the 43 as they are looking for it. Of course, that battle for Bowyer, we were talking about, the 12th and final spot for the chase. We've got this and 4 more races to go until that's decided. But right now, we got ourselves a new battle because all of a sudden the man who was in control is back in 4th. And Juan Pablo Montoya, who's led 33 laps, is in front again.
Whatever happened, he better hope, Ambrose better hope that he didn't hurt something like a transmission or a part of the car there, because whatever happened, it was definitely a mistake. Somehow they're getting into that corner.
8th place, Boris said. You saw the view he had of Denley Hamlin right behind him. They come down the front straightaway. And let's go back a little further. How about the 18 of Kyle Busch? Remember, he went to the rear of the field because they had problems at the start of the race. He's now up to 13th.
Yeah, Kyle's done a nice job of working his way up. He's got himself in a position to maybe not make a winning day of it, but certainly he can salvage a top 10 and possibly even a top 5 before this is finished.
Got Jeff Burton in his sights. Does he have a little damage on the front nose there, that 18?
Or is that just sure he's had to move a few people out of the way if he's all these cars that he's passed.
Well, it might be the paint scheme of the M&Ms on front. Here they come through the bus stop. All right, let's go back on board the 47. Let's see if we can hear what happened to Marcus Ambrose.
Your inside, watch your inside.
Yeah, wheel hop. You hear it right there.
It's out there, 3 wide bottom, 3 wide bottom. Back to 3 wide bottom.
Okay. In case we've got some new viewers, explain the wheel hop.
What happens is on the downshift, when they're getting under into the corner under real hard braking, they downshift, and what it does, it makes, if you don't hit it just right, it can make those wheels start hopping in the rear and lose a ton of traction, and it looks like he's got things worked out now. He makes the pass on Allmendinger.
So put him back into third place. The only way to really get rid of it, you got to hit the clutch.
Yeah, you can hit the clutch, but that's really hard to do in that situation, and sometimes you just don't get those revs matched up with your wheel speed, and it starts that. And so, it's just a mistake on his part. The good thing about him is he's able to make passes, and he can work his way back to the front.
Had a glimpse of Kevin Harvick. Remember, we always talk about he sort of sneaks up to us at the end of the race. And remember, he finished third yesterday. He's up to 10th right now in that number 29.
Marty, you said something a while ago as we were talking about the chase and trying to position yourself there. A key thing that you have to look at this race, 38 cars, you were talking about 37th on the lead lap. If you have just any kind of problem, a flat tire like we saw Jimmy Johnson, if someone else has this that's trying to work their way in there or trying to stay in the chase, then that can be devastating to your chase hopes.
I've always worried about this race for that reason, Dale, because even on the last lap, you could be running third on the last lap and break something and finish 33rd or worse.
Well, as we come down this front straightaway, it is now Montoya, Kurt Busch, and Marcus Ambrose now back to third. Rusty?
I'll tell you what, guys, in that replay, we're listening to Marcus Ambrose's car from inside, and one thing I heard right away was the engine laid up against the rev limiter real hard as he was going down into turn one, and as a driver, I tell you, that'll really confuse you on your downshifts. The thing was turning so many RPM, and that all happens because we were on a restart right there. As you see, caution now. Martin Truex spins, it keeps going, no problem.
Right side,
and no caution.
Clear right there.
Keeps going, back out on track.
Yeah, it's probably a hard decision to make on that start, whether to go ahead and shift it into high gear or to go ahead and leave it in third or second if that's the gear that you're going to try to get down in that corner. It looked like that's what Ambrose tried.
Truex has got a tire rub on that left front. Let's go back and show you exactly what happened. He was 22nd.
See, he tries to get down in under Sam Hornish.
He connects with Hornish, and that's where the rub is. You can see it.
Yeah, and Ambrose got a great start, and he might have just been torn between whether he was go into high gear or keep it in third before he downshifted. So he was up against the chip, and then he had too many RPMs whenever he did decide to downshift. But he's making his way back here in a hurry. He's going to take over second right now from Kurt Busch.
And here he is, diving into the corner again. No wheel hop that time. Let's get an update on the two. Vince.
Well, it's been a pretty solid day for Kurt Busch, despite the fact you just saw Ambrose go by him. They were really loose in the rear end on entry prior to their first pit stop. They made some chassis adjustments that helped the car quite a bit. And remember, and although we talked a lot about Kyle Busch being so good on the road courses, Kurt's not too shabby either. He led 23 laps here last year, finished 7th, having another good run here today at Watkins Glen. Dave Burns?
Vince, the guys talked about the ability of the 47 to come back, and part of that is a result of the practice session they had here on Friday. They had two, and the first one, they weren't very good. Crew Chief Frank Kerr told me that they had to make some major changes between the practices. It was the rear end that wasn't secure for Marcus Ambrose, and they got that done. The first practice, I think they were only 7th quick. On the second practice, they got up to 3rd quick, and obviously have the speed in that car that this great driver needs.
Well, a mistake there, and we have seen Marcus make mistakes before. Obviously, the most costly I can remember was last year at Montreal on the last lap, and it cost him the win there in that Nationwide Series race. The thing is here, he does have enough laps to come back from this one.
Well, now that Marcus Ambrose, well, he gets really loose getting into turn one right there. We're looking at this as a tracker so we can see just where he'll catch this 42. Now, with that lap, he was actually slower than Montoya, so you can see that line going the wrong way. It's actually still going downhill. If that line ever turns back up towards the baseline, you see that white line, that's the lap where they cross where that pass should be made.
Yeah, and the only thing that's going to keep him from winning this race today is possibly himself or something breaking, because he just has to not make any mistakes. He's got the faster car and seems to have everything in line here.
Yeah, he's trying too hard. I mean, he saw what happened out in California. He wanted to win that race so bad. He wanted to try to do everything right, but he ended up beating himself, and that's the same thing that happened just on this restart as he's, made a little bit of a mistake.
And right there, the last time you were talking about, he got loose getting down into turn one, so he doesn't have to make all of this up right now. He has 40 more laps to go. They need to be talking to him on the radio, telling him that.
Comes out of the final turn, and the lead right now is 2.2 seconds with Juan Pablo Montoya over Marcus Ambrose, Kurt Busch, A.J. Allmendinger, and Jamie McMurray in 5th.
Little head-to-head fight here at Watkins Glen. A little head-to-head fight in the Bronx tonight. Red Sox and Yankees. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball at 8 Eastern Time. It's Josh Beckett and A.J. Burnett pitching tonight. Then on ESPN's Monday Night Baseball, Albert Pujols and the Cardinals take on Joey Votto and the Reds at 7 Eastern. Both games available on ESPN3.com. 37 laps to go at Watkins Glen. What has turned into a two-driver race for the most part at the front of the pack. Juan Pablo Montoya and Marcus Ambrose separated by 1.8 seconds. Ambrose was leading at the last restart, had wheel hop down into turn 1. He fell back to 4th. He's worked his way back to 2nd, and he's trying to chase down Montoya.
Yeah, the biggest thing I'm concerned about, though, right now, Alan, with Ambrose, I don't believe his brakes are near as efficient as they were early in the race. He's made a couple mistakes. He's wheel hopped it once. We just saw him wheel hop it again a little while ago. Kind of got off course a bit. And his lap times are still real good, but he just can't be as aggressive as he used to be early.
Yeah, it seems like he needs to take a little bit of time, take a deep breath, just run some good solid laps and let those brakes cool off, put himself back in position to where when we get to the last 10 laps to go, he has a chance to go after Montoya, who is running just phenomenal. Juan's doing a great job protecting his line and has done a great job all day long.
And I just noticed a little wrinkle in the left front fender of that 47 car as he came through the inner loop, and kind of a close-in shot there. And Andy Petrie with these final stops coming up, just something to watch for, the blend. Whichever of these two cars stops last as he returns to the racetrack, where is he in relation to the other?
Yeah, that's right, Alan. If they make that pit stop and they're not on the same lap, okay, but you see this this tracker, this is what Ambrose has been looking for. He's trying to get that line to intersect, and wherever it intersects, you can see right here where it looks like it might be around lap 57, 58. That's what he's looking for to make that pass. If he can move that line up there, kind of predicts where he'll catch Montoya. And you see Montoya slide that right front tire getting in the corner.
Now where it's flashing green, that's the lap we're on. The indicator at 58 is where he would catch him, and he has been picking up about 3 to 4 tenths a lap. And you had an interesting observation, DJ.
It's just, you know, when he calms down and drives, he's way faster. There's no doubt about that. We see Jimmy Johnson and Matt Kenseth battling here, but Montoya is driving a great race, but he is no match for Ambrose whenever he just stays calm and lets his car do the work.
And you can see this is all the way back for 16th position. Let's listen in on Jimmy's radio.
Looks like I've got 12.5 volts with no fans on battery 1.
Rev it up. Get it up about 4 grand. Let that thing maybe reset. Rev it up about 4 or 5,000 RPM.
Yeah, it's I moved the line a touch, but didn't do much.
We'll just keep on trucking here, and if it looks like we have some issues, we'll switch over to the other battery. We cannot run both those batteries at the same time. 10-4. 10-4.
And guys, I spoke with the team's car chief, Ron Malik, shortly after that radio transmission to gauge how concerned they were. It doesn't sound like that they're all that concerned. Malik told me that was a portion of the racetrack where the RPMs aren't usually all that high, and because of that, it's not really generating a lot of electricity through the alternator, if you will, generating a lot of volts. So because of that, they're not that concerned, but they are, as you heard, monitoring the situation.
And it seems strange to hear Chad Canal saying we have issues. We've heard that a few races lately. A couple of cars coming down pit road while you see the battle as the 33 is in. Boyer, Jamie.
And Clint Boyer been saying he's been extremely loose. The car seems to get a little bit better on the longer run. The guy's working on the left side of the car. Of course, it's reverse of what they do every other week aside from one other race. See him filling up with Sunoco fuel and 4 tires, Dave.
Sam Hornish Jr. coming down pit road as well. He has been had contact with Martin Truex Jr. On one of those earlier runs. Right now, they'll get him out of here for his final pit stop. 12 of Brad Keselowski on track as well. Remember, they had a change of motor from where they started earlier on the weekend. They blew a motor and they had to start the field, so not a bad day overall for Keselowski.
So they'll come back out as the leaders come down the front straight to complete lap number 57. We have a total of 36 cars still on the lead lap.
Well, our tracker said he was going to catch him on lap 57, but catching and passing is another thing.
The battle is what the 12 pulled out right there. See who gets to, he holds him up enough that it's going to allow Ambrose to get right to him.
See who gets the best run coming out of the S's down the straightaway to the bus stop chicane.
See, and you know, Keselowski's not going to give that spot up easily.
Well, he's trying to stay on the lead lap in the 29. Dave?
Yep, our championship leader on pit road. No changes. That's a good sign. He does want 4 fresh tires. He does want it to be full of fuel so they can get to the end of the race and possible green, white, checkered finishes. But he's been very happy with the race car. And he said, strategy-wise, whatever you got, do it, because we got a fast car. Denny Hamlin's car is pretty fast as well. He did some more overall grip on that car, so they reduced the air pressures in 3 of the 4 corners on the 11 car.
The 83 of Barr's set has also made a stop, as well as Regan Smith. And meanwhile, Keselowski still trying to hang on to the lead lap.
Yeah, he knows that these guys are going to have to pit here very soon. Or not going to have to, but they're going
to. But he wants to stay in front of them just in case the caution comes out before they make that pit stop.
Montoya last pitted on lap 26. Ambrose on lap 27. Report that the 7 of Robbie Gordon has headed to the garage. Let's get an update on Jamie McMurray.
And he's in his pit box. They reminded him he stopped a little short last time. He's saying he's still tight, and he's getting a little too hot. They've been telling him to breathe that motor. They want to pack it with gas. They fueled a little short last time in 4 tires, Vince.
Well, Kurt Busch has had a good solid run today. Been in a top 5 car all day long, but they're still trying to find a little bit more rear grip. They've been searching for it all weekend. 4 Goodyear tires, air pressure adjustments on all 4 tires, and around a wedge. Dave?
Jeff Burton's car was tight earlier in the race, and now it's tighter. That's not good. It was running hot as well, so they removed tape from the front of that 31 car and made an adjustment as well. Vince?
There's the 18 of Kyle Busch. Kyle said he's just had a little bit too much side grip in the car. They made a 4-tire change with an air pressure adjustment.
And he looks like he's running a little bit hot as he comes back out.
But his crew did a great job because he came in behind the 31, so Kyle Busch got out in front.
And here comes the race leader, and they're both coming in. Jamie, coming your way.
That's right. Juan Pablo Montoya decided it was time. The 47 followed. He said he's still tight in the inner loop, and that's where he feels he's losing the most time to Marcos Ambrose. No changes once again for the 42. 4 tires of fuel is the only call for Juan Pablo Montoya.
And 47 car, Marcos Ambrose is in as well. They're not going to make any changes for him. He likes the handling of the car. He's going to try not to do what he did last time, which is wheel hop. So far, he's been solid on the track ever since as he tries to take down the race leader. He's going to be behind him leaving pit road.
Montoya's crew does the job. They get him out first.
It's like Ambrose got just a little close to the wall for the jackman there. Maybe it hurt him just a little bit.
Saw Carl Edwards was also in, as well as A.J. Allmendinger. There's Carl going back out on the track. This final round of green flag pit stops continues. Jeff Gordon getting back off pit road.
Yeah, we talked yesterday that this is downhill, just like we talked about the front stretch. These guys had to be extremely careful not to get those RPMs up a little too much and get caught speeding leaving.
Casey Kane finishes his work. He pulls out as well. Dale Jr. coming out right behind him.
Yeah, Dale Jr. hasn't had a bad day. For as bad as they were all in practice and qualifying, he'd moved himself up just outside the top 20.
Guess who's the race leader? You're looking at him. Well, at least now, till he pulls in, he comes our 4th different leader. Tony pulls it in at 35 miles an hour, and this has got to feel like snail's pace.
Well, he hasn't led a lap yet. I'm watching the line here to see if he crosses over. He looks like he will make it before the rest of the leaders get here, so he'll lead a lap. That looks like Ryan Newman beat him to the line.
Yep, Newman came around and did beat him to the line officially. Vince, he's finally made it to you.
Well, it's kind of been a handful for Tony Stewart today. You know, he's been 1st or 2nd in this race each of the last 6 years, but the car just hasn't quite been there today. Fighting the same thing throughout the day, loose off the corner. They're going to make a 4-tire change with air pressure adjustment. Sunoco fuel, trying to give Tony Stewart something to work with here down the stretch. Mike?
And David Ruderman has complained about his car throughout the day, describing it as evil and crazy loose. They're going to make a wedge adjustment on that car. A 4-tire change anticipated as they swing now from the left side to the right side of that car, taking on a full fuel load of Sunoco race fuel as well, completing their stop and pulling away.
And as he pulls out, we'll remind you that the guys, there's some debris there in turn number 7. It's off the race line, but that is pretty sharp. If anybody goes wide, that would definitely cut a tire.
That looks like one of the covers for the drive shaft.
Now the big question is whose car is it from. Here comes Ryan Newman, and 33. Clint Boyer is going behind the wall, and I'm wondering if that's where that comes from. Jamie.
That's exactly right. On his last round of pit stops, Clint did say something broke, something is not right. He went back out. They believe that part fell off his car. He's going back to the garage. Remember, Clint Boyer was on the bubble. He was 12th coming into this race. That's a big day for Mark Martin if Clint Boyer ends his day in the garage.
It absolutely is. In fact, the swing right now would be close to 98 points.
Well, that part I saw late on the track was a cover that goes around the drive shaft, and Boyer likely broke a pinion gear right there, and it broke the drive shaft and shot it out of that housing.
Ryan Newman back out, and now
Caution's out.
we get the caution call for that debris that we saw in the final turn. And what a tough break for Clint Boyer, and that's the piece we're talking about.
Yeah, Mark Martin is the leader, but he's going to have to make a pit stop, and you'll be surprised how many cars he lines up behind here.
Yeah, most everybody except for Andy Lally and David Reagan had not, so they're going to go behind pretty much everybody else that's out there.
Right. They last pitted on lap 43. We have completed 61 laps. And get our first look at Andy Lally. He did double duty yesterday in the Grand Am race as well. As you can see right now, he started back in the 33rd position. But these top three, they definitely have to come to pit road. They all pitted back on lap 43. So while we wait for everybody to bunch up behind the pace car and see how those three make their pit stops, let's make sure to go to Goodyear.com to check out Goodyear's Support Our Troops program. There you can send a thank you message from a NASCAR driver, and you can enter for a chance to win a 2011 Ford Taurus and other great prizes. All right, we've got 28 to go, and you can see the fans. They're on their feet. They're ready.
Our McDonald's race rundown. A look at what's happened through the first two-thirds of today's event. On the pace laps, Kyle Busch to pit road. What problems?
Well, he hit pit road. The lead box on the right-hand side frame road that was not spaced right. The lead is bouncing back and forth. He had to come down pit road and fix it.
And he has dug his way back up through the pack. He's going to be running top 15 when we go back for the restart. Juan Pablo Montoya took the lead at lap number 6 from his Ganassi Racing teammate, Jamie McMurray, and has paced most of the laps in this event, 47 of the 63 we've run so far. But the man who's dogged him is Marcus Ambrose.
Marcus Ambrose has been really strong today, trying to be patient, staying right behind Montoya, trying to mirror his tracks. Montoya's been outstanding all day long. These two guys are the class of the field.
Ambrose going by for the lead at lap number 41. Then on a restart from a caution flag, Ambrose with Montoya to his outside goes down into turn 1 and has trouble.
Yeah, he sails it down into turn 1. We heard his motor, and it laid it up against the rev limiter, caused the engine to wheel hop. His car started wheel hopping. A lot of guys passed him. Let's listen. Boy, when you get that wheel hop, that is no good. And that's the reason he lost 4 or 5 positions. But he's got him back right now, right on the tail of Juan Pablo Montoya.
The leaders have made what should be their final pit stops of the race. Some of those just in front of the leaders just peeled off. So Montoya is back to the top spot. Now, a couple of developments where the championship are concerned. Mark Martin was the leader, just made his pit stop. Yes, it's going to drop him way back in the pack, but Clint Boyer has been behind the wall in the garage with repairs being made to his car. Martin getting the news that the guy he's fighting for the final spot in the top 12 has got some problems.
FY 33's in the garage. Okay, cool. I'll make sure we don't wreck this thing then. Yeah, we still can do good, man. We'll get us a good finish and try to get some points here.
If you're new to NASCAR, the top 12 drivers in the championship standings at the conclusion of the 26th race make NASCAR's version of the playoffs. 5 to go, including today. Beginning the day, Clint Boyer was the number 12 driver. Mark Martin was the number 13. Right now, they flip-flop as things run at the moment, but you can see it's awfully close. So we've got 27 laps to go. They're going to get the green flag when they come back around with 26 to go in the race. Montoya and Ambrose, no reason to believe they won't continue to slug it out right down to the final laps of this one. Please don't go away. And then when this one wraps up, it's back to oval track superspeedway racing next Sunday at the Michigan International Speedway, the big, fast 2-mile track. The Carfax 400, 1 p.m. Eastern next Sunday on ESPN. Our coverage begins at 12 noon Eastern with NASCAR Countdown. Rusty, you're a winner there here in Michigan. DJ2, it's a fun track for the drivers.
Fantastic racetrack, really wide. They're right there with all the manufacturers. They're all watching. You really want to shine and kind of show off when you get to go to Michigan for your team.
All right, before we get the restart, Clint Boyer is back on the track, Jamie.
Well, he was in a hurry, to say the least, to get out of the garage. All of a sudden, his gas man's carrying a big tank of gas. He's yelling at him, stop, we got to put fuel in it. We may be short, so that's the concern. Clint Boyer is long gone, Marty.
Clint Boyer will restart 36th, 3 laps down, and because of Mark Martin having, of course, to come in and stop, he fell back to 25th, and that's why you saw that gap drop down to now just 4. But Mark Martin in that 12th and final spot for the chase. Let's reset it as we get ready to go back to the green. Marcus Ambrose up front, or I should say Juan Pablo Montoya with the inside line. Then Ambrose, Kurt Busch, Allmendinger, and McMurray, your top 5.
Yeah, we saw Clint Boyer's car in the garage area. They were welding. Look what looked like the trailing arm bracket. Had a pretty low bracket right there, and it looked like it broke, and they came in and welded it back.
Montoya has clinched the most laps led, and the driver leading the most laps has won 6 of the last 8 races at the Glen. Does he prevent Marcus Ambrose from completing the sweep? No one's ever swept both nationwide and cup races here at the Glen. We'll find out.
Well, the most important thing right here is for Ambrose not to lose that second spot.
Oh, and you saw Greg Biffle. He got sandwiched in between. It looked like Boris said, and another car on the outside, and he has lost a ton of spots. Biffle was 8th on the restart. And there you see he's fallen well back into this field. Now back to 25th. Jeff Gordon trying to find his way around Denny Hamlin and the 77 of Sam Hornish.
You're going to see things intensify a little bit here now. We're getting down in 25 laps to go here. These guys are going to race a lot harder.
No more strategy, no more pit stops. It's all on the track now.
Saw Mark Martin as he was fighting his way through. Let's go back up front. Check in on Montoya. He's got about 2 car lengths over Ambrose. Kurt Busch in 3rd. There's A.J. Allmendinger. Look at the 29 of Kevin Harvick going underneath Boris Said. Tony Stewart trying to get into this mix as well. On board with Boris for a moment as they come through the last turn.
You see Harvick, he's had a good race car all day, but we're seeing him just work his way up towards the top 5 for the first time now.
He's up to 7th, up to his usual tricks. A little bit further back, Jimmy Johnson. They're going to go side by side with Jeff Burton. And right in front of them, whoa, Boris. And I tell you what, I thought he might get a little bit turned on that.
The narrow part of the track
here.
here.
They're coming by you here. Hold the brake.
Look out, guys. Oh,
14
man.
dumped us.
Boy, that's a dangerous spot.
Running 9th at the time, and the caution is out. It'll be our 4th. We talked
we got a lot of damage.
Alan mentioned it in the pre-race about the funnel that you just feel like you're going into there.
Well, that's more than a feel. It actually does funnel down right there. Not a lot of room. See what happened here. It looked like him and Stewart racing pretty hard down in this corner.
You can
like
see
Boris
Tony's,
has the advantage.
Yeah, but Tony's on the outside, and he's not going to give. I think he felt like that Boris Willie.
Yeah, it looks like Boris maybe running out of room, and Tony says,
Wasn't taking any of that.
It looked like Boris kind of forced him out of the racing line anyway. Tony didn't like that.
Yeah.
This one.
Still there. Barely. Door. Still there.
Yeah, generally when you're trying to pass.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to leave. He's got to leave that outside guy.
Yeah, you can't get all the way over.
Hold the brake. They're coming by you here. Hold the
to
brake.
those white rumble strips there.
14 dumped us.
No, you can, but you might want to expect something about like this.
That idiot tries to run us straight off the racetrack. I'm going to hold my line.
Did exactly what you're supposed to do there. Don't worry about it.
This will be one of those situations where there's 2 sides to this story. Each driver's going to think he was right.
On board with Tony.
Well, Boris has the line right here, but he has to leave enough room for that car on the outside.
Yeah, he was going to put Tony over in the dirt right there. Tony just made his way back onto the asphalt, and the 83 was there.
Okay, let's update you. I didn't get the lucky dog in from the previous caution. That was to Kevin Conway, and we have 34 cars on the lead lap. This time, it's the 33 of Clint Boyer, but he's still going to be a couple of laps down. Under our 4th caution here at Watkins Glen, And let's revisit the AT&T Fastest Pit Crew of the Year award. The fastest pit crew is determined by the winner of each race, the fastest pit time, and your vote. Be sure to text the car number to 2258 for your pit crew choice. Now, our track pit crew's busy here at Watkins Glen, trying to pull out the Armco down in turn number 2. And let's show you exactly how it all got bent.
See, Tony Stewart and Boris Said arguing over the real estate property there. But watch this. Whoa.
And that's the
See
vibration.
who won that argument.
And remember, Boris was involved early in the corner with Greg Biffle. And we can tell you, Biffle is on pit road getting repairs as well. He's shown in 33rd position. Got quite a few cars out of this race now. Robbie Gordon's off. Nemechek, Fellows, Jones, McDowell, and Speed are out. Let's talk the calendar. NASCAR Now tonight at 11 Eastern and tomorrow at 5 Eastern on ESPN2. And then our nationwide series, Carfax 250 coverage at Michigan, Saturday at 1 Eastern over here on ESPN. And then NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, Carfax 400 at Michigan, Sunday, 1 Eastern on ESPN with Countdown starting at noon. The work continues back in the garage area, and Montoya continues to lead. Welcome back to the Hell of a Good at the Glen. Make sure to go to NASCAR.com for all your latest NASCAR information. Let's quickly check in with Mike Massaro.
And Boris Said has climbed from the wrecked 83 car. Obviously very disappointed. What happened?
Well, I mean, we were having a really good run in the Red Bull car. I mean, team did a great job. Pit stops were great. I was biding my time, kind of just waiting for the end of the race to really go after it. And, well, there me and Tony Stewart, I guess he was just doing his deal and I was doing my deal, and our deals collided. I mean, that corner bit me twice this week. It's just, you know, I don't really know what he was thinking, but, you know, that was just hard racing, double file restarts. All the restarts were wild. They were a blast. I mean, I had a great time in this car. It was a great opportunity for me to be in a top team, and I'm just really sorry that, you know, I disappointed the guys because the car was flying well. Yeah.
This is a different angle, the onboard camera with Tony Stewart.
I mean, he's off the track and looks like he's trying to get back on. I didn't quite know he was there. I thought he filed in behind me, but, you know, I mean, I'm a Tony Stewart fan. I'm not going to bitch and moan about him or say anything bad, but I just feel bad for these guys, and, you know, I don't know what I could have done different, you know, so hopefully you can tell me what I did wrong there, because I don't think I did anything wrong. But, man, I sure have a good time driving these cars, and it's just exciting racing, and this track is so great, and, you know, this Red Bull team's great. They gave me wings, but I didn't expect to be flying around in circles. I wanted to be flying around the winner's circle at the end of the race, but I think we had a top 5 car.
Marty, he was disappointed. Obviously, he had high hopes coming into today.
Well, he was running 9th, Mike, and he's had a rough weekend. He finished 22nd in the nationwide race, 21st in the Grand Am race. And as you can see, what's happened here as he's listed in 36th with 21 laps to go next time by. And let's reset it for you. Montoya and Ambrose up front, Kurt Busch and Allmendinger, then Edwards, McMurray, Harvick and Stewart. Jimmy Johnson is up to 9th despite the battery issues they've got. Jeff Burton 10th, and Kyle Busch is sitting right outside in 11th. Remember, he started at the back of this field. Clint Boyer did get the lucky dog. He's now only 2 laps down. He's in 34th position. Mark Martin right now shown in 27th. So that gap is still very close for that 12th and final position. And boy, are they taking snail's pace to come to the green flag. There we go. And boy, Montoya jumps on the throttle.
And I'll say it again, Ambrose didn't get a good start. His biggest thing right here is to try to keep that second spot. If he's not able to do that, he may not get a shot at Montoya.
Side by side with Kurt Busch, they give each other room. Look further back, you saw Gordon going wide, several other cars going wide, dust kicking up, and yes, this time we make it through without anybody going into the Armco.
You know, Ambrose did make it back out in 2nd place out of turn 1.
Martin Truex side by side with the 9 of Casey Kane.
Yeah, and we may not have seen our last caution flag. These guys are getting very aggressive. See Carl Edwards trying to get on the inside of Allmendinger.
Boy, and Allmendinger was having none of it. Here's Edwards underneath him again. Crisscrossing underneath each other. Can't get it done. Through turn 5.
Yeah, these guys have raced in the top 5 all day long. Allmendinger doing a nice job, but Carl Edwards wants that spot really bad right now.
Montoya has led 53 laps. We've had 5 different leaders. Here comes Jamie McMurray. He's side by side with our pole sitter, and they're going to go through turn 6. Now he's got the better line coming through turn 7.
See if Carl will try to cross back over right here, get the spot as they go down to turn 1. Oh, spin.
Got a spin. Jimmy Johnson. Can he keep it? No, and he gets hit from behind. And it's Denny Hamlin. Hamlin gets refired, but Jimmy's got damage to the front and the rear of the 48.
Bring her on down here. We'll take a look at it.
Seems like 9th is not the spot to be. That's where
31.
Boris was when he got tagged, and that's where Jimmy was. And oh, look at the damage to Hamlin.
He hit Jimmy Johnson pretty hard there.
What this means for Clint Boyer, he gets the lucky dog again. He'll be one lap
within
down.
one lap, yeah.
And at the rate we're going,
one more caution away from being back on the lead lap.
Tools over here on this right front, guys. That splitter bar pulled back forward.
So for Jimmy Johnson, he is having another weekend that he'd probably like to forget. For Denny Hamlin, he was running 12th at the time of this crash.
We were watching this. We see Jimmy Johnson. That doesn't look like any contact there.
Yeah, it looked like he just got off the racetrack on the right-hand side a little bit.
Hamlin really couldn't see anything. He was just trying to slow down and miss it.
Well, it was Jeff Burton immediately behind him, as well as Kyle Busch. They both make it through. And
it looked like Johnson wasn't going to get a lot of damage. He was got front end mashed in just a little bit on that cipher barrier, but then here comes Hamlin.
See,
they have gotten some help from either the 31 or the
yeah.
Or the
it would have been the 31. These guys could have been 3 wide there possibly. And
well, Dave Burns has caught up with Denny Hamlin.
I know for a lot of reasons this is very disappointing for Denny. What did you see coming down to the final corner there, Ben?
Dive bombing. It's just so stupid. We're not even racing for the win. We're racing for 8th through 10th. And I don't know. Just guys dive bombing each other, and yeah, that's the way these road course races are. And hate it for the FedEx team, but you know, that's part of it, I guess. You know, we were back there in the first place, and but it's just a frustrating day. I mean, we had a 10th to about a 10th place car all day, but just at the end, you know, guys just going for it.
Okay, thanks, Denny. Guys.
Well, you heard Denny's frustration, and you can only imagine Jimmy's. Let's go back the last few races. Daytona, 31st for Jimmy. Chicago, 25th. Indy, 22nd. Pocono was the best at 10th, and we're checking to see if Kyle Busch, ooh, he's got a little damage on that right front corner. I wonder if that was from that incident.
well, he's been having to deal with traffic all day long, so that could have come from any time. He was actually down on the inside part of the racetrack as they entered that corner, so I can't imagine he got that right there.
Well, check Jeff Burton. Does he have any damage? Because he was, nope, looked like he went through there clean.
As quick as Jimmy went around, though, it looked like somebody had to have tagged the rear bumper.
Well, as we were talking to Denny Hamlin, as he is out of this race, has only 2 top 10s in the last 6 races. And remember, he won 3 of the previous 6. Back here at Watkins Glen under our 5th caution, as we had an incident in the final corner involving the 48 of our 4-time champion in the series, Jimmy Johnson, the 11 of Denny Hamlin, and Hamlin's car is really messed up front. Now keep an eye right on the 48 and the 31 and the 18. Here they come.
Yeah, they're kind of all in line right there. We see Kyle Busch jump to the inside of Jeff Burton as they approach turn 7. Jimmy Johnson taking a wide approach. He thinks he's okay right there. But as Burton tries to protect his spot and get down in, it looked like there could have been a little contact. We'll have it from another angle maybe, but you can't really see it there. But looked like Jeff got into the quarter panel of Jimmy Johnson just a little bit. Nothing intentional, just hard racing.
No, Jeff Burton found himself kind of on defense with the 18 getting into that corner, so he's trying to race him in there.
On board with Jeff Gordon.
You can see a little bit right here. You can see just enough contact there as Jimmy tried to arc into the corner and come down. The 31 was there. Denny Hamlin thinks he's going to the outside to miss all of it. He can't see anything because of the smoke, and unfortunately the 48 car is sitting right there.
Let's listen to Kyle Busch's radio.
You can't see that corner right here because of those trees, or can you?
No, the trees are right there. Then you get under the bridge, and that cuts it off even more.
And I think what he's talking about is he's asking for one of his 3 spotters there. Can he see that corner better?
Well, he's probably wondering why maybe one of the other spotters didn't say he was inside, or, you know, just trying to figure out how to call that corner.
Vince, let's get an update from what's happening down there.
Yeah, the 18s had to run the wheels off this thing today, as you guys noted, starting from the back of the pack. You see some left front fender damage there over that, just right on top of the wheel. He's also got right front damage as well. That right front damage from earlier restart contact. The left side getting together with Burton there on that replay that you guys dissected. So Kyle Busch got a little damage, but he's made his way back up into the top 10. Good run for him so far, Dave.
Jeff Burton reported to his crew after that incident. He said, not a cool place to pass. And that was referring, of course, to the 18. And once he got alongside of him, Jeff said, I couldn't turn my car. There was nothing I could do. And they passed along an apology to the 48. Of course, that's tough at this point, but that's what Jeff had to say about it. Mike?
Dave, as you might imagine, a pretty beat-up race car for Jimmie Johnson, mostly on the right side. Heavy damage to the right rear quarter panel. They've broken out the bare bond and some extra pieces of sheet metal and repaired the cosmetic damage. They looked at the chassis parts as well and assessed the damage under there. They don't think they have anything too significant. What they're on pit road for once again is because of the front splitter. They've got a broken splitter brace. They're trying to repair that and trying to get the splitter back down on the racetrack, guys.
And they're trying to stay on the lead lap. They are 32nd, the last car on the lead lap. Let's check in with our in-race reporter, DJ.
Hey, Marcus, Dale Jarrett, you have a copy?
Yeah, 10-4 down.
All right, man, where the laps are kind of winding down here, we've seen a great battle between you and Montoya. Are these cautions kind of working against your plan, or do you still have plenty of time?
Well, I had the plan worked out there till I actually hopped one of those restarts into turn one and lost track position. So I just got up for him. You know, McCarthy's really coming in as these tyres build up temperature and pressure. But he's driving a great race up there. Montoya's doing an awesome job. I mean, he's really hard to pass, so it's going to be a big battle here between us if we can get this last reset down pretty clean. But excited for the end. We've had a great day here in the little Debbie Toyota. Just looking forward to getting a good finish.
Hey, do you have, I'm sure you won't tell us, but do you have a plan in mind exactly where that pass may try to come? What's the best spot for you?
Every plan I've come up with didn't work, so I'm just going to just drive on instinct here the last 10, 15 laps and see if I can force him into my mistake.
All right, man, you drove a great race, too. We'll be watching. Have fun.
Yeah, Ford, just wanted to be clean to the end, you know. I hope we can drink this one out and still both finish.
Here on that, Marcus. All right, so the crash between Denny Hamlin and Jimmie Johnson, that's the reason we're under this concert. And remember, they won 10 of the first 17 races this season. Baseball on ESPN tonight and tomorrow, and it's the Red Sox versus the Yankees tonight. That's Sunday night baseball at 8 Eastern. Then on Monday at 7 Eastern, it's St. Louis and the Reds. Both games available on ESPN3.com. And you aren't going to believe this. Most of you probably know Alan Bestwick's a Red Sox fan. DJ is a Yankees fan. They're going to the game tonight after we're done here. They're sitting side by side. So if you see smoke, fireworks in the grandstands, it's because the two of them are sitting
there we go.
Next to each other.
Now we're talking.
Yeah.
All right, well, we're back here.
Our director's a Yankees fan. That's why you're seeing that picture.
Well, back here at the Hell of a Good at the Glen, we are now going to be down to 16 laps next time by, and we are going to go green. Look at this. First 42 laps a day, one caution. The last 31 laps, we've had a total of 4. And so what you guys were talking about, the new room has led to some aggressive driving, and we have seen more contact here late in the go. All right, let's reset it for you. It is Montoya up front with Ambrose, then Kurt Busch, A.J. Allmendinger, McMurray 5th, Edwards 6th, then Harvick, Stewart, Burton, and Kyle Busch is now 10th. And 32 car, or the 48 car, is the 32nd and final car on the lead lap. Clint Boyer is 33rd now, 1 lap down. He's picked up 2 lucky dogs, 1 more. He'll be back on the lead lap and will have turned a disaster into a potential recovery. Green flag flies, and we're back underway here at the Glen.
Ambrose a little better restart right there. He might have something right here.
He might be able to race him through this corner.
Kurt Busch right on the back bumper of the 42.
No, Kurt Busch gets the advantage.
If he loses the spot, Kurt Busch looking to take it. Yes, he does. Coming up through the S's. A.J. Allmendinger's got his hands full with McMurray and Carl Edwards.
That was perfect for Montoya right there. Separated himself. Not that Kurt Busch isn't good, but he hasn't had anything for Montoya.
Edwards looking to the inside, thinks better of it. Tony Stewart trying to make up some ground right away. He's got Harvick right behind him with Kyle Busch.
that last restart we saw, Kurt Busch was able to hang with those top two, so he might be able to maintain that spot. We'll see.
Going side by side through there, Elliott Sadler, and that's Robbie Gordon. He is back out onto the racetrack, 13 laps down after having earlier problems. Sam Hornish having a decent run back there as well. He's side by side with the Army car of Ryan Newman. And that is for position. Hornish trying to get the 11th spot.
Yeah, still a lot of speedy drive here in turn 7. Let's see if everybody can negotiate through there okay.
Sam's got this position, and here comes Newman crossing over, and down the front straightaway we go once again. Harvick looking to get back on top of Tony Stewart. He's got the position. Whoa, and Tony gets loose. So what Tony gotteth, Kevin taketh away. Kyle Busch and Jeff Burton running nose to tail as well. Kyle into 9th now, Burton 10th. Jeff Gordon back in the 12th spot, still fighting with Sam Hornish, who's dropped back to 13th. That's Matt Kenseth in the 17 right behind.
Yeah, he hasn't had a stellar day, and road course isn't his best thing, but he's up into that 14th spot for Kenseth.
All right. What about Marcus Ambrose? He's got his hands full right now. He's got Kurt Busch in front of him, A.J. Allmendinger behind him. And it's allowing Juan Pablo Montoya to check out.
Yeah, Ambrose can't mess around too much longer if he's planning on having a shot at winning this race.
Well, there's still 15 laps to go, and that's, you know, I would hate for him to feel like he was desperate at this point. If I was his crew chief, I would say, you know, we need to go, but it's not desperate time yet.
All right, Juan Pablo Montoya, it's been 113 starts since his win at Infineon back in 2007. Kurt Busch has led 123 laps on the road courses, the most by any who has yet to win. And here comes Marcus Ambrose, still looking for his first Sprint Cup win. Underneath him, they ride each other out to the far end of the track, takes the spot.
What a move he made in that.
That's just incredible. He can carry so much speed down in there and yet come out of the corner, okay? Everybody else we see is jumping on the brakes and wheel hopping and everything and getting out of shape and getting past again, but not Marcus.
Well, for more NASCAR stats, in-car audio, and live race radio, check out NASCAR Sprint Cup Mobile at sprint.com/speed. And we bring you now the chase, the Sprint Cup Network. As you can see, our leader, Kevin Harvick, at 32.26. And right now, Jeff Gordon, second place, 208 behind. And Jeff Burton would pick up 2 spots, moving in to the 3rd position. Biggest mover of plus 33 positions, Kyle Busch, as Kyle right now running in the 9th position. As we said, don't forget, log on to sprint.com/speed.
Jamie Murray really wanting that 5th spot from Carl Edwards. Whoa, Carl into the safer area there.
He brushes it with the left rear quarter panel. Jamie's not close enough, though, to take advantage. Carl takes a defensive line to protect.
But he's got Carl at a bad angle getting that corner. He might try to cross over here.
Doesn't get it done as they head up through the S's. In fact, Carl actually gains a little bit on him now coming out of the S's. Next time by, we'll have 12 laps to go. The lead is now 1.7 seconds. Juan Pablo Montoya over Marcus Ambrose here at the Glen.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at Watkins Glen is presented by GoDaddy.com. Domains, websites, and everything in between. And in part by AT&T. Find out what's possible with the nation's fastest mobile broadband network. AT&T. Rethink possible.
Looking down from high above here at Watkins Glen International. Next time by, we will have 10 laps remaining with Juan Pablo Montoya with a 2-second lead over Marcus Ambrose. And you guys have been watching the lap times closely.
Yeah, Montoya's actually been able to beat Ambrose somewhere between 1/10 to 2/10 of a second per lap, even after Ambrose took over that 2nd spot.
2 years ago, Marcus Ambrose finished 3rd in this race. Last year, he finished 2nd. Had dreams of becoming the first ever to sweep the weekend, winning Nationwide and Sprint Cup, but right now he's got to make up that much room to get it done, and Juan Pablo is in control. Jamie?
You got to tip your hat to teamwork of these Ganassi teammates. Jamie McMurray, the day after he won the Brickyard 400, he went down to Road Atlanta and tested the setup that Juan Pablo is now using, and so is Jamie. Juan Pablo had a brand new baby girl that was only a week old, so Jamie did all the legwork. They brought that setup here, and he loves the car. And the funny thing is, these drivers have very different styles. They usually don't like the same setup on ovals, but here it is working. Marty?
And of course, Earnhardt Ganassi, Chip Ganassi's team won the Grand Am race last night as they had a fine performance. Checking in on Jeff Gordon. He's in front of this pack that is coming down. He is in 11th spot, but right behind him is Ryan Newman and Sam Hornish. They've been banging on each other for the last couple of laps.
Yeah, they've got quite a battle, and you see just behind them is Martin Truex Jr., who we saw spin earlier, made a nice comeback, though. Got himself back up in the 15th spot right now.
Kenseth, Truex, Menard, and Smith. That's the positions on back. A little dust kicking up again.
Yeah, there's going to be a hole over there before this is over with.
Sam goes wide. He's looking for the run. Here comes
got the position anyway. He just didn't have the angle.
Let's get more from Dave Burns.
Well, it was funny because he's going to get past now, and his spotter had just told him, wait for the mistake. Well, it looks like Sam made a little mistake there, and he's going to have to work back to get these positions. But as he gets passed on the inside by Martin Truex, one of the things that his crew chief, Travis Geisler, told me was that Sam's been very comfortable with the race car throughout practice, and that was half the game. He felt like he was in a comfort zone where he could really drive it. Now he's just got to hit all his marks.
Well, but that was a perfect example of if you make one error at one end of the track, how badly it costs you at the other end.
Yeah, he was trying to make a pass on Ryan Newman and actually took a bad angle and had to get out of the throttle in turn 7 and ended up losing a couple of spots.
So Ryan Newman has a little bit of breathing space. The guy who's really got it there is Jeff Gordon, as he's opened up a bit of a margin over Newman. Remember, Gordon's in 11th, Newman on back, 12th, then Kenseth in 13th, and so on.
Yeah, we don't normally talk about 11th place, especially on a road course, being very good for Jeff Gordon, but this team has struggled mightily Friday in practice. They changed all the setup and made it better in qualifying yesterday, but certainly have come back and made a pretty decent day.
And speaking of making a day of it, Mark Martin, remember he was out front for a while, had to make that last pit stop. He's fought his way back to 21st right now. His worst news, though, was that Clint Bowyer's crew did a magnificent job of welding up that race car and getting him back out. Bowyer is 33rd right now, 1 lap down, and you can see that Martin would move in to the 12th position, but by not nearly as big a margin as it could have been.
And one more caution flag. It looks like Clint Boyer will get another lap back and be back on the lead lap. He could make up some spot.
He is the only car 1 lap down, so yes, he would get the lucky dog. So it could be a dogfight right to the end, and what a recovery that could be for Team 33. And you talk about building morale with 4 races to go after this to the chase. Right now, the morale in the 47 camp has got to start fading a bit. The laps are winding down. It'll be 7 this time by, and the lead is now 3.5 seconds.
Yeah, Montoya's laying down some of the best laps of his race so far. He's staying in the low 72-second bracket, not making any mistakes. He's got some breathing room, so he's not feeling any pressure from Ambrose.
Yeah, he's just hoping that all the rest of them behave for these next 8 laps where he doesn't have to contend with another restart.
Actually, I'm not sure Ambrose wants another restart. That seems to be his weakness today.
But as a racer, I think that's going to be his only shot. I don't think he's going to run him down in these next 7 as strong as Montoya is.
Right now, Ambrose's car is not fast enough to beat Montoya. He's off.
I think I got a flat tire.
Yeah, he's got some issues because he's nowhere near as fast as Montoya is.
So could there be a problem for the 47? Marcus Ambrose, as he is fading now. It's 4.2 seconds.
See a tire that looks soft through that exchange.
Next time by, it will be 6 laps remaining. And you talk about the diversity of NASCAR. You've got a Colombian up front, an Australian in second, Kurt Busch from the U.S. right here in 3rd. And as you take a look at those that have won in the Sprint Cup Series, Mario, Earl Ross back in 1974, Juan Pablo Montoya in 2007, and how about the first race on a road course? You want to know where it was? 1954. Linden, New Jersey, on a 2-mile airport runway. Al Keller in a Jaguar. And until 2008, that was the only non-American car ever to win in Sprint Cup competition. Right now, Marcus Ambrose can't even see the 42 of Juan Pablo as he climbs up through the S's. And that is the worst news of all for anybody who's been a fan of Marcus. You can see the cycle as he is sliding backwards with the laps winding down. Next time by, there'll be 5 to go. Well, we heard him talk about a tire, but we can't see anything yet.
Looks like the 78's broken a track bar mount.
Yeah, Regan Smith's got also
got a right rear
problem as well. And there could be debris out on the track, and this could potentially bring out, oh, and we got more smoke. That's Robbie Gordon. Remember, he was behind the wall earlier. Robbie's running 13 laps down in 36th. Regan Smith is on the lead lap in 25th.
Yeah, if that tire continues to come off and gets on the track, that would have to bring out a caution.
And he can, for safety's sake, go through there. He's not improving his position, so there'll be no penalty there, but he's still got to make it around. He's got a good half a mile to go at least to get back to pit road.
You can see that track bar mount's broke also. Probably what cut the tire down.
Stays way to the outside. Another piece of rubber flying off in the back. There's some more. While that's going on, no yellow yet, so let's go back to the racing because Kevin Harvick putting pressure on Jamie McMurray, and Harvick trying to get up to 6th. Remember, Harvick yesterday finished 3rd in the Nationwide Series race, and here he is again doing exactly what he needed to do in this championship run. Get a good, solid finish.
This team looked like they're getting themselves positioned and ready for the chase. They've been able to win races. They've been very consistent week in, week out on every type of racetrack that they're going to encounter when we get to the chase. Dave?
And DJ, when I checked in with Gil Martin, the crew chief, this morning, I said, would you rather go for 10 points in the win and gamble, or would you rather protect your points lead? He said, kind of neither. We just want to keep doing what we've been doing, which has gotten them some wins and a lot of runs in the top 5 and the top 10. Road courses may not be where they expect to win necessarily, as it looks like he's finally going to get McMurray down into turn 1, but they just want to continue doing what they did, which has built them this big points lead and set them up to be the leader going into the chase.
All right, while we watch all this, I'll update you quickly. Regan Smith did make it to pit road. So did Robbie Gordon. Gordon has pulled it behind the wall. How about Tony Stewart? He is right behind McMurray. He's running in 8th position. We thought that he would be a bigger factor in today's race. Remember, he's finished 1st or 2nd in the last 6 runs here at the Glen. So this streak is in jeopardy. Vince?
Tony Stewart says his car just has not handled around other cars today. When he's out on his own, like you see him now, he feels like the car is much better. He can gain ground on some other cars, but then once he gets caught up and he's in that traffic, the car just doesn't want to react and handle the way he wants. And of course, on a road course, you're going to be in traffic a lot. So not the kind of day that you would hope for if you're a Tony Stewart fan, or that guy, the 18 of Kyle Busch. But one thing that's impressed me about both of them, even though they've been less than ideal days, they've had solid top 10 performances at the end of the day, and those are the kind of things you look back on in a championship season and say, that was a big day for us.
Well, Kyle Busch has picked up 33 positions. Another guy who's having a good day, Jeff Burton. Remember, Burton is now going to move into 3rd in the chase for the Sprint Cup because he's going to pick up 2 spots, and the Blue Deuce running up in 3rd position could be the big gainer today, picking up a total of 3, moving into 4th. That's if everything holds station for these last 2.5 laps, but a good solid day for the Cat 31. There's Jeff Gordon. He is in the 11th spot, and while he continues to motor on, so does our race leader, Juan Pablo Montoya. The lead, 4.8 seconds, as he's making the run down to turn number 6. So next time by, there will be 2 laps remaining. And if you look at that from up top, it's all over unless something happens to the 42.
Unless we have another caution flag.
Go 2. Give me 2.5 more minutes of nice, smooth 2 laps. Be sweet. 13-2. Still a 4.5-second lead.
And that's right, Andy. The only thing that could change the complexion of this race would be a caution. 2 more laps, about 5 miles remaining.
That's Montoya. I'd be just saving my brakes, saving my tires just for that restart, just in case, because he's got about 5 seconds that he can give up here in these next 2 laps.
Well, over the last couple of weeks, everybody's heard the radio communications between his crew chief, Brian Patty, and Juan Pablo, and the fact that there has been some tension and stress. DJ, This is the kind of thing that can take all that and put it away.
It's amazing how many times it happens in this sport, too. I can remember back when I was racing thinking that, Gordon and Evernham were having some problems and things. Okay, this is our time to strike. Next thing you know, they go on a 2 or 3 race binge and winning. And so these guys are professionals. I'm sure that Chip Ganassi and Tony Glover got them together and said, look, guys, we've got a good thing going as Kurt Busch here closes in on Ambrose. But, this can do a lot to mend those wounds.
Kurt Busch all over the back bumper of Marcus Ambrose, as he has never won on the road course, but Kurt having a great run today.
It does look like that left rear tire on Ambrose's car is a little soft.
Yeah, definitely he's got some kind of problem now.
Yeah. Well, he's got the inside track heading down into turn 1, but boy,
better be careful here.
Marcus brakes late and holds onto the position for now. Here comes Kurt. They go down, and he finally clears him. And if he holds on to second, this will be his best road course finish ever. Prior to that was third back in Infineon in 2005. And he's pulling away from Marcus now.
Yeah, Ambrose definitely has a problem, and it looked to me like maybe that left rear tire was a little soft.
Down through the bus stop. White flag has already been out. We are winding this race down. Does Marcus have anything to get back to second? Because nobody is challenging this man, Juan Pablo Montoya. His last win 113 starts ago at Infineon in June of 2007. Down through the final corner for the final time.
Sorry about last week again. You did an awesome job. Way to go there, big boy. Good job.
And it is.
Good job.
Juan Pablo Montoya, his second Cup win.
This more than anybody else. Great job, everybody. We've been working really hard for this. This is what it's all about right here.
Still got a battle further on as Kevin Harvick's fading back. Something's wrong with Harvick. Burton is going to get around him. You see McMurray, Stewart, Kyle have come across. Now Burton and Gordon rounds out the top 10, and Harvick slips back to 11th. Further back, it's still going to the wire. Newman, Kenseth, Hornish, and Truex in the top 15. Then Paul Menard, Casey Kane, and look at this. Even further back, it is Brad Keselowski taking over the 20th spot over Patrick Carpentier, with Pappas, Ruderman, Biffle, and Reagan rounding out the top 25. And Dale Earnhardt Jr., despite starting a very distant 40th today, comes home in 26. But there's your winner, Juan Pablo Montoya, with his second win in NASCAR Sprint Cup competition.
Right there. Juan, you drove the race of your career, buddy. That was tremendous. 0 mistakes.
Well, you can see that Juan is savoring the moment, and we will savor it with him in Victory Lane when we come back. Back here at Watkins Glen, where Juan Pablo Montoya has picked up his second career win and the first as a crew chief in Sprint Cup action for Brian Patty. And coming up right after this, of course, SportsCenter will have Carl Edwards in the pit studio, winter interviews, and the oh-so-close no-hitter today in baseball. Juan still making his way around this track. And let's talk to probably an emotional Brian Patty, Mike.
An incredibly popular win for Brian Patty as he walks through this garage. He's getting hugs from everyone. The champion, Jimmy Johnson, even stopped his car to congratulate you. What does this win mean?
It's huge. It's big for our sponsor and Target. First time they've been in Victory Lane. I still want to win on an oval, to prove this point. But we've been fast every week. We've had. The Brickyard 2 weeks ago was my fault, and hopefully this makes up a little bit.
This team has faced some challenges over the last couple of weeks. What does this win do to mend some fences?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, trophies mean a lot. And, my truck and my Busch victories I both had here, so it's pretty neat to have the triple and at the same racetrack, which is my favorite. It means a lot. It's pretty cool.
Quite the emotional win for Brian Patty, Dave.
Of course, Marcus Ambrose wanted that win as well. Faded back to third there at the very end. And you talked about possibly a tire. Do you have any idea if there was a condition with your car?
We lost the handle on it after that last stop. From the moment I rolled out, just didn't quite feel right. Whether we had a bad set of tyres, the track changed on us, I'm not too sure. But we tried hard all day. Congratulations to Juan. He drove a heck of a race, man. It was a lot of fun there in the middle part of the race. wasn't giving me anything. You could tell we weren't running for a championship because I just wore everything out trying to pass him and finally got him. And then, that last round of pit stops there, we just lost a handle on the race car. But good day for us. Little Debbie has been a big sponsor of mine. I'm really proud to get him back here in the top 3.
All right, a podium finish, but not the W he wanted today, Marty.
No, the W goes to Juan Pablo Montoya. He's the 4th driver to win this season, to break a winless streak of more than 50 races. And there he is, climbing out down in victory lane.
113 races since Juan Pablo Montoya's first ever win in the Sprint Cup Series. Juan, it's been a tough year for you and this team. It's been an emotional couple of weeks for you guys. Put in perspective what being back here in victory lane is like.
It is great. We lost a lot of them and gave away a lot of them, and it gets frustrating and everybody gets fighting and everything, but this Target team does an amazing job. I want to thank Sprint for supporting this series, an amazing series. I love it, and it's about time to get another one.
What is this like? Your crew chief, this is his first Sprint Cup win as a crew chief in the Cup Series. What does this do for your relationship, proving that you guys can win together?
We have a great relationship. We really understand each other. It's difficult because we're very competitive, and we both want to win. And yesterday we had a really good talk with Chip and all the boys, and now this is awesome.
Congratulations, Juan Pablo Montoya back in victory lane. Marty?
So the celebration, twofold for Chip Ganassi as he won the Grand Am race yesterday. Let's talk to the man who finished in 2nd place. Vince?
Great bounce-back weekend for Kurt Busch after the frustration at Pocono a week ago. But, boy, you just kept digging today and digging. Maybe not the second-best car, but you finished 2nd. Where was the trouble spot for you to keep you from getting that extra spot?
Well, we had a hard-fought battle today. I mean, Montoya raced smart, and Ambrose, they were there in the mix. And I think when I messed up was I let Ambrose get in behind me on the restart, that last restart. I wanted him to be on Montoya. Those two would battle it out and maybe take each other out, and that would have given us a great shot to win. But we were right there in the mix with our car, and Steve made great adjustments. I thought our car got better as the race went on, just still sliding with the rear end, just a little too loose, fighting it. But it was great to race with those world-class guys today, a guy from Colombia, a guy from Australia, down under. It's neat to see the different worlds come together on a road course, to see who can come out on top. And today we got 2nd. Montoya was a strong car.
When the chase comes, I think this guy's going to be one of them. You got to beat Kurt Busch. Mike?
And Jimmy Johnson now debriefing a little bit with fellow driver Jeff Burton. And obviously this was not the weekend anybody was expecting out of you. I'm sure you weren't expecting it as well. How would you describe the weekend overall?
Well, I think we overcame a lot throughout the weekend. I know the result doesn't show it, but we unloaded and had a lot of troubles. And we got the car turned around and finished or qualified 9th. Then I had an early flat tire and rebounded from that and drove all the way through the field back to 9th again, and I had that contact in turn 11. Jeff was just here, and it sounds like maybe the 18 was racing with him, and they got in a situation coming into turn 11, and they were bouncing off of one another, and I was up ahead of them, and I was the next guy in line for the contact. So one of those racing deals. Hate that it happened, but what do you do?
And you can tell that Jimmy Johnson, this team's still quite composed, even after a somewhat unexpected day. Dave?
Mike A.J. Allmendinger brings the famous 43 home in 4th, and you were good all day.
Yeah, I mean, the Insignia Best Buy Ford was strong all day. We didn't have anything for the 42. Maybe had something for the 47 and the 2 at the end, but just proud of everybody at Richard Petty Motorsports. Just a strong weekend altogether, and not a bad week to sign a multi-year deal and have a great finish. So hopefully build some momentum into the rest of the year, and we finish strong.
All in all, a good week for A.J.
All right, so the top 4 finishers. And by the way, to put to bed the Kevin Harvick story when he lost those spots on the last lap, flat left rear tire on the 29 car is what dropped the championship leader down to 11th spot. Here are some of the upcoming races for the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. If you'd like to join us, to be some great action. Michigan, Bristol, Atlanta, Labor Day weekend, and the Chase deciding race at Richmond. The number at the bottom of the screen or NASCAR.com/tickets is where you can look up the information to join us there. And a reminder that next weekend, it is the Michigan International Speedway doubleheader going on there. Saturday, it's the Nationwide Series Carfax 250, and the return of the Nationwide Series new car covered Saturday at 1 Eastern on ESPN. And next Sunday, the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series Carfax 400, 1 Eastern on ESPN. Coverage starts at noon with NASCAR Countdown. What a fight between Montoya and Ambrose.
Ambrose just drove a great race today, and Montoya run the wheels off that thing. It was a fantastic day for those two. Tough day for Clint Bowyer, Jimmy Johnson, and really tighten up the chase for the championship between 12th and 13th position.
You know, it sure doesn't surprise me. We've seen Montoya over the past couple of seasons have these dominant days. I mean, he was dominant today, led 74 laps and not get the finish. You knew it was going to happen sooner or later. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't get another win in the next couple of weeks ahead.
Yeah, or several over the remainder of the season. That's for sure. So as always now, extended post-race coverage coming up on SportsCenter, as well as the rest of the day's sports news. And Juan Pablo Montoya, certainly a big factor in our post-race coverage as he finally breaks through after a race-long fight with Ambrose and gets the victory. SportsCenter is next, including more from the Glen.